Hello and welcome back everyone, we Weeb Online, and today I'm gonna continue the story What If Kurama Gave Naruto the Ultimate Dojutsu Part 8. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and to watch more videos like this, subscribe to my channel and turn that bell notification on so you never miss an upload. Now wasting no more time, let's begin.
"You're going down, Tsunade Bachan," yelled Naruto as he charged her. The blonde was furious that she could insult the Hokage in such a way, and the woman needed to be taught a lesson, which he was more than willing to give her. Naruto got even closer to Tsunade before noticing her smirk. Tsunade raised a finger and slammed it into the ground, shattering the streets. Naruto managed to avoid the impact, which surprised Tsunade, and Naruto arrived quickly. Tsunade caught Naruto's punch, only to see Naruto grin and shift his weight, his foot coming under her left leg, causing Tsunade to trip. The blonde Sannin almost backed up, but with a slight shift in her stance, she tossed Naruto over her arm, sending the Kyuubi Jinchuriki crashing through the rooftops. "Well, you're not as bad as I thought, but you've got a long way to go, brat," Tsunade said. Naruto smirked and did a backflip before landing on one of the building's roofs. "I don't want to hear that from a half-drunk, half-sober Sannin," Naruto yelled, making Tsunade's head turn red. Tsunade cracked her knuckles, and Naruto knew things were about to get even more interesting. Naruto sensed Tsunade's intention as she applied chakra to her fist. Naruto leapt from the building and into the air, spinning wildly towards Tsunade. Tsunade narrowed her eyes as Naruto yelled, "TSGA." She didn't stay in place and backed up when she saw Naruto drill into the ground. Does he know an Inuzuka technique? Tsunade wondered, but Naruto didn't give her time to think and quickly went through some hand signs, his right hand cackling loudly. "I'm going to make you return it, Bachan," Naruto said, his Sharingan flaring. Jiraiya, Shizune, and Tsunade were all taken aback by the change in his eyes and demanded an explanation. "He even has the Sharingan. He's not a Uchiha. He said he was Minato's son. Does he have a Dojutsu?" Tsunade pondered until the sound of multiple birds chirping jolted her awake. When she saw Naruto charging at her, the Sannin's eyes widened, and she knew she had to act quickly. Tsunade quickly pumped her right fist with chakra and slammed the ground, spewing gravel at Naruto. Naruto cursed as the Chidori demanded straight movement for power, but he was already too far into it when he had an epiphany. Naruto made a single hand sign with his left hand before yelling and touching the ground. Hayaten, Dehiyoshi. Suddenly large ice spikes appeared from the ground and blocked the stone slabs aimed at Naruto. But that wasn't all they did. If one looked closely, they formed a sort of ramp that provided Naruto with the necessary edge. The blonde Jonin dashed up the hill and leapt into the air above Tsunade. The Sannin exclaimed at Naruto's mastery of techniques he shouldn't have had, and Naruto fired his right hand at her. "Chidori," yelled Naruto, but he saw Tsunade smirk at the last second and avoided the attack. Tsunade cocked her fist and punched Naruto in the stomach. Naruto exclaimed as he felt the chakra and force push that sent the blonde crashing into a building. "Don't underestimate your superior Gaki. You're 30 years too young to beat me," Tsunade said confidently. Jiraiya and Shizune were curious about Naruto's condition, but one look at Kiba and Haku's smiles told them it wasn't over yet. "No, Tsunade Bachan, you're 50 years too old to think this could bring me down," Naruto said as he emerged from the rubble, some of his clothes battered. Tsunade narrowed her eyes at Naruto, but the blonde Sannin was surprised that Naruto had survived her punch. Sure, she held back a lot to avoid killing him, but it should have knocked the blonde out for at least 2 days. "Well, Gaki, mind telling me how you're so good? I noticed you had the Sharingan, Inuzuka techniques, and even some Kirizuki clan skills," Tsunade said, no longer drunk. Naruto smiled as he closed his eyes. It was always amusing to see someone's shocked expression, and he relished the sight of it. "Only if you tell me what the hell your problem is," Naruto countered, raising an eyebrow at Tsunade. Everyone overheard the discussion and wondered where Naruto was going with it all. "What do you mean?" Tsunade inquired, his face befuddled. In frustration, Naruto sighed and pinched the bridge of his nose. "Why did you insult the cage? What have they ever done to you?" Naruto stunned Tsunade. Before sucking her teeth at Naruto, the blonde Sannin recalled her painful memories of her love and her brother. "You wouldn't understand, you being so upbeat. I've got nothing to say about it. It's my business," Tsunade yelled, making Naruto grit his teeth. Naruto had only had a little practice with it, but he'd had enough. "Then I have nothing to say to you, Bachan," Naruto replied, causing Tsunade to huff in irritation. Suddenly, the dust around Naruto began to swirl, and Haku backed up slightly. Jiraiya and Tsunade noticed them and unconsciously did the same. Naruto raised his hand and lunged it out, and sand shot at Tsunade, surprising the Sannin, but she eventually dodged it, with some of her hair cut off while looking at Naruto, and the sight shocked her. She looked into the coldest blue eyes she'd ever seen and saw Naruto weaving his hand around, trying to capture Tsunade. The blonde woman dodged to the left and right before backflipping, but Naruto didn't back down and drew his right hand back. Tsunade turned her head and saw the sand at her back coming for her, almost avoiding it. But the sand grabbed her right leg and another shot of sand grabbed her right arm. The sand continued to overwhelm her until she was completely covered. Naruto raised his hand, bringing the sand in the middle of the air with him. Tsunade tried to move, but the sand tightened around her and she winced. I wouldn't move. Every major movement makes the sand constrict you even more. I've won this fight, Ba-chan. You might have beaten me if you hadn't been drinking. But it is what it is, Naruto said, dropping his sand and softly placing Tsunade on the ground. The blonde let go of the sand and watched it sink back into the ground. Naruto approached Tsunade, who was furious at the outcome and watched Naruto approach her. Now then, Ba-chan, let's go. I'm tired from this day, and whether you like it or not, you will return to me, even if I have to drag you back. And you now know damn well that I can, Naruto told her. Tsunade attempted to throw a punch at Naruto, but he vanished in a flash of yellow lightning and reappeared behind her. Harassment. They all wondered. Tsunade was so taken aback that she forgot about her rage and turned to Jiraiya. Jiraiya, have you been teaching him the harassment? Why the hell would you do that? It was an amazing act that even Minato performed. How could you fulfill his hopes of ever using it? Tsunade yelled. Jiraiya sighed and confessed that he had not taught Naruto the harassment. It's not finished, but I have most of it down. And besides, I beat you without it, so you shouldn't say anything, Naruto explained. Tsunade rose to her feet, huffing her displeasure at the blonde and his words. Please, it took Minato most of his life to do the harassment. A genin like you could never make it happen, Tsunade said to Naruto, who narrowed his eyes at her and smirked, sensing a challenge from Tsunade. Please, Ba-chan, give me 3 days and I'll have the harassment down like it was a memory, Naruto said, and Tsunade nodded. Okay, I'll give you a week. If you can master the harassment in that time, I'll retract what I said about the cage, return to the village, and give you this, Tsunade said, holding up her necklace. Naruto raised an eyebrow, but grinned and nodded. Fine, you got yourself a bet, Ba-chan, Naruto said, but whether I win or not, you will come back to Konoha. Tsunade's eyebrow twitched at Naruto's cheekiness, but she relented and nodded as Shizune widened her eyes and quickly intervened. You've never bet on that necklace, Tsunade-sama. Shizune told Tsunade, this is a foolish thing to do, but the Sannin waved it off and stormed off to get a much-needed drink. Naruto turned to Kiba and thanked him for holding his swords. Kyuubi and Kasumi approached Naruto, the former resting on his head and the latter taking up residence in his jacket. Are you going to train, Naruto-kun? Haku asked, and Naruto nodded and walked away to a private training location, while Jiraiya decided to go after Tsunade while Kiba and Haku talked with Shizune for a while. Has he always been that way? How did he become so powerful, after all? Shizune inquired, and Kiba and Haku exchanged a brief smile. You might want to take a seat, Shizune-san. It's a long story, they both said to her, Shizune nodding absently as they continued their story about Naruto and his power. Naruto is involved. Naruto smirked and let Kyuubi jump off his head and Kasumi jump out of his jacket, and both women sat on the grass feeling the cold breeze. So, Naruto-kun, you wagered a Sannin. You are extremely reckless, but I can understand why. Based on your previous experience with the harassment, I believe you bit off more than you can chew, Naruto-kun, Kyuubi said, causing Naruto to slump to the floor. Don't tell Kyuubi-chan, but I'll make her return it. I'll show her she's wrong, Naruto replied, making Kyuubi smile, before rubbing her soft hands on Naruto's shoulder. So, Naruto-sama, what are you waiting for? You should be training then, Kasumi said, and Naruto stood up. Naruto took out one of his father's kunai and threw it at the tree, pinpointing his chakra to the kunai and disappearing until he slammed into the tree and cursed. Kyuubi and Kasumi sweat dropped and sighed. Isn't he going to be here for a while? Kasumi inquired, and Kyuubi nodded, both girls watching the blonde train his heart away. Tsunade is present. Tsunade was currently inside a stand, drinking sake and slumping her shoulders to the small table in front of her. Drinking had always helped her escape from problems, but she couldn't get drunk no matter how much she drank this time. Are you drowning your problems in alcohol once more? Jiraiya asked her, seemingly out of nowhere, and Tsunade sighed and gave him a tired glare. What do you desire, Jiraiya? Tsunade asked, twirling her saucer, and Jiraiya sat on the stool next to her, ordering the same drink and taking a sip of the strong drink. Jiraiya leaned up off the chair and slightly chuckled. He's not going to be able to do it in a week. And you are aware of this, aren't you? Jiraiya inquired, and Tsunade simply stared at her cup, which seemed to answer his question, before turning to face him. What exactly is his deal? I understand his desire to defend his father, but the brat needs to mature. He's nothing more than a genin. What, after all, does he know? Tsunade grumbled, gulping down more sake, and Jiraiya grinned, knowing he would have to tell Tsunade the news, and knowing it would surprise her. Come on, Tsunade, you know he's not a genin from how he fights and beats you, Jiraiya said, making Tsunade stiffen at his claim. Is he not a genin? Jiraiya sighed and rubbed the back of his neck at the sudden tension in the air before asking her a question. Do you believe a genin could defeat a sannin, even if they were inebriated? Jiraiya inquired, and Tsunade responded by shaking her head with a hell no, and Jiraiya nodded. Naruto is a Jonin Tokibetsu. Tsunade widened her eyes at Jiraiya and returned to her saucer. He really impressed everyone, and you should see why he earned that position, Jiraiya said. Didn't I just screw myself? Tsunade inquired, and Jiraiya nodded and drank from his saucer once more. Yeah, you did. But at least you have me, Jiraiya said, as Tsunade chuckled and looked at him softly. Are you trying to set me up on another date? Not after the last one, Tsunade said, and Jiraiya grumbled in response. It was once Tsunade. You ladies never let anything go, do you? Jiraiya asked, and Tsunade sighed and rubbed her temples over their conversation. Today was not her day. Returned to Konoha. Naruto had just returned to Konoha, exhausted, but because it had a mission from the real Naruto, it intended to keep it. Naruto grabbed Sasuke and the two passed through Konoha's gates. Sasuke, I can't believe you did that. Why did you imitate Kakashi method? Sensei's Naruto inquired, and Sasuke simply HM-fed and turned his gaze away from Naruto. You could never comprehend Naruto. You, like me, have been alone, but you have a family. You get the training and everything else that is rightfully mine. I'm a Uchiha, and you're a stupid Uzumaki brat. You may be fourth son, but he must have despised you to implant Kyuubi in you, Sasuke said. And Naruto came to a halt, grabbing Sasuke's collar and steadily lifting the emo off the ground, his eyes turning to slits. How in the world do you know that? Naruto inquired, and Sasuke smiled arrogantly and rolled his eyes at the blonde Jonin. Please dope, those idiots on the council would go out of their way for me and my clan. It's not difficult to elicit information from them. They're all worthless people anyway, Sasuke said, only to be met with a punch in the gut that caused him to gasp. Listen here, Imo, you may have most of Konoha worshipping the dirty ground you walk on, but me and my family aren't most of Konoha, and don't think I won't kick your ass for insulting my parents, Naruto said, making sure Sasuke understood. Sasuke responded with a snort, and soon a Jonin arrived to see what all the fuss was about. Naruto, Sasuke, Naruto, aren't you supposed to be looking for Lady Tsunade with Jiraiya and the others? Kakashi asked, showing his face, and Naruto grinned and nodded before explaining. I'm just a Kai Bunshin from the boss, Kakashi-sensei. He ordered me to drag Sasuke team back here. Also, Kakashi-sensei, I learned something from Sasuke that you should be aware of, the blood clone stated, causing Kakashi to cast an uneasy glance at Sasuke. Oh, and what should I be aware of concerning Sasuke? Kakashi asked, still reading his Iro book, while Naruto glared at Sasuke, who still had a defiant expression on his face, and suddenly smiled. Sasuke team thought it would be a good idea to watch you and me train and copied the Chidori that you taught me, Naruto explained, drawing Kakashi's attention to Sasuke. Did he copy it? Kakashi asked, trying to wrap his head around the idea. Naruto nodded and soon dissolved into a small pool of blood on the ground, which shocked Sasuke and Kakashi. But it didn't last long before Kakashi grabbed Sasuke's shoulder and smiled. May I speak with you right now, Sasuke Uchiha? Kakashi inquired, and before Sasuke could respond, the two vanished in a leaf shunshin. Somewhere out in the boonies, 7 figures appeared on top of the fingers of an unusual statue and began conversing with one another. Itachi, Kasama, please report. Have you managed to capture the Kyuubi Jinchuriki? The leader inquired, and Itachi closed his eyes as Kasama mumbled something incoherent. I guess that's a no. One of the others said, grinning. Kasama grew a tick mark on his head but didn't say anything, and Itachi didn't either until someone else spoke. How difficult could it be to catch a little brat? Another asked, but his voice was muffled because his Akatsuki coat covered his mouth. Kasama couldn't take it any longer, and decided to let some of his pent-up aggression out. HMPH, you haven't had much luck with the Nenabi. Sure, she fled her village, but I didn't expect you to cause so much trouble, Kasama retorted, making the man sneer. I've made contact with Kasama. It won't be long before Hidden and I take care of the Nenabi, says Hidden. Just don't hold me back, Kakuzu. You always have your stupid side trips for money. Hiden said, and then hell broke loose between the two teammates, who argued about the importance of their separate time-wasting activities until the leader intervened. Enough. What can you tell us about the Kyuubi Jinchuriki, Itachi? The leader inquired. Itachi turned to face him, nodding. Well, Pain. At the moment, he's very mysterious. I'm not sure of all the details, but he has the Sharingan and even managed to break my Tsukuyomi, Itachi said, nearly shocking everyone in the room. Naruto Uzumaki has the Sharingan. Do you leave another family member alive, Itachi? The man inquired, prompting Itachi to stare at him before remaining silent. It doesn't matter, Deidara. Zetsu, keep a close eye on the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. He may turn out to be more of a problem later on, a Venus flytrap-looking man said. He appeared to have two sides, one black and one white. Yes, Pain-sama. I wonder how strong he is, the black and white said before disappearing. Soon after, the other members began to fade away, leaving only two members on two different fingers. So, Nagato, what are we going to do with the Kyuubi Jinchuriki? A female inquired. Before responding, Pain narrowed his eyes. For the time being, Conan, we will simply observe him. However, one day he will die, and his death will become the bridge to peace, Pain said as he walked away. Conan simply sighed and walked away, leaving the Akatsuki members' conversation in the past. 4 days later, late afternoon with Naruto. When Kyuubi and Kasumi opened their eyes to see Naruto sleeping on the plain grass, they both laughed. The blonde had spent nearly every night of the week practicing the Hiraishin, and he was still at the same level as before. The tree had dent marks from the numerous impacts it had taken. Naruto slowly awoke and rose to his feet. How are you, Naruto-sama? Kasumi inquired. Naruto struggled to his feet, but with the assistance of Kyuubi and Kasumi, he was able to maintain his balance fairly easily. I feel like I took 100 punches from Tsunade Bachan, and then some, Naruto smiled. Kasumi chuckled at her blonde, and soon everyone's stomach grumbled and they all blushed. I suppose we should get something to eat, Naruto suggested. Kasumi and Kyuubi nodded, and the three of them walked back to town to get something to eat. It didn't take them long to get into town, and they all noticed Kiba and Haku looking around some stores. They appeared to be looking for something, but it didn't appear to be anything. Hey guys, Naruto said, turning the two around. As Naruto, Kyuubi, and Kasumi approached, Kiba smirked and Haku waved. Hey Naruto-kun, you didn't come back to the hotel for 5 nights in a row, Haku said, her voice a little worried. Naruto rubbed the back of his neck with a smile. Yeah, sorry about that, Haku-chan, the blonde explained. I'd been practicing all those nights and I'd exhausted all my chakra before passing out in the fields. Haku and Kiba sighed and sweat dropped before letting it go. So, what are you guys doing? Naruto inquired. I'm training with Akamaru in another part of the forest. Kasen gave me a new clan technique to master before I returned. And I intend to do it, Kiba said, a feral grin on his face. Haku shrugged her shoulders as she held her sword. I'm going to look for a blacksmith because I wanted Zabuza sword Sama's to be upgraded. So I'm going to look around and hopefully get some new things, Haku replied. Naruto smirked and gestured to a nearby restaurant. I'm going to get some food, then it's back to training for me. I'll probably be at the hotel this time, Naruto said. And here I was just getting used to the comfortable grass out in the field, which is actually quite relaxing, Kyuubi observed, raising everyone's eyebrows. Naruto inquired, has anyone seen Shizune-san, Tsunade Bachan, or Iro Sennin? They didn't, said Haku and Kiba, shaking their heads. Naruto sighed, recalling his conversation with Shizune 3 days before. It made him want to finish the Hiraishin even more, not to mention learn more about Tsunade. Flashback. When Naruto saw the kunai stuck in the tree, he huffed and collapsed to the ground. He still couldn't figure out the Hiraishin's trajectory. He had to have been able to judge distances for a long time to hit his head on the tree. It was embarrassing and chakra taxing for him, but he didn't complain. He loved a good challenge, and it motivated him even more. He, on the other hand, wasn't neglecting his other training, as he made cage bunchins to do some kenjutsu. He also made 2 other cage bunshin spar, one with the Sharingan and the other with the Byakugan. Naruto was about to stand up and restart when he felt a presence behind him and sighed. Can I assist you, Shizune-san? Naruto asked, causing the brunette to emerge from her hiding place. Shizune stood up and smiled at the blonde before approaching his position. She saw his clone's training, as well as a red-haired woman, who she assumed was teaching a dog summon. Shizune ignored it and approached Naruto. Hello Naruto-san, would you mind if we talked about Tsunade-sama? Shizune asked. Naruto narrowed his eyes at her, but nodded, and they began talking. What exactly is it, Shizune-san? Naruto inquired. With their hearing, Kyuubi and Kasumi could hear the conversation but continued to talk about Kasumi's training. Shizune contemplated her words for a few moments on the ground before looking at Naruto with a sudden look of conviction. Don't do it, Naruto-san. Don't keep the bet with Tsunade-sama. That necklace has a history. It's only safe with her and no one else. Anyone else who wears it will die, Shizune warned, causing Naruto to narrow his eyes at her. Shizune went on to explain how Tsunade first gave the necklace to her little brother, Nawaki, and how he was destined to be the Hokage, but he died when he was a genin, causing Tsunade a great deal of grief. She went on to explain that Tsunade gave her necklace to her lover, Dan, and that he would be Hokage as well, but that he died on a mission and Tsunade couldn't save him. She was traumatized by the sight of blood after that. Tsunade's pain was only partially felt by Naruto. It made him think about what he'd do if Tsume, Haku, Kiba, Kyuubi, or Kasumi died. He shuddered at the thought, but returned his attention to Shizune. Thank you Shizune-san for sharing that story with me, Naruto said, but I can't let go of this bet. Shizune was wide-eyed and asked Naruto to explain, which Naruto gladly did. I'm sorry Shizune-san, but there's no excuse for insulting the cage of Konoha. When I win this bet, I'll show her that her necklace isn't a curse, but it will be my gift, Naruto said. Shizune widened her eyes at Naruto, who smirked. Besides, what kind of cage would I be if I couldn't do this much? Naruto asked, returning his attention to the tree in front of him. Tell Tsunade-bachan that I'll make her regret betting with me, Naruto said as he walked away from the tree. He stood a few feet away from the tree and stared at it. Then he vanished in a flash of yellow lightning and hit his head on the tree again. Damn it, this is hard, Naruto said as he knelt. Shizune looked at him for a moment before smiling and departing, leaving Naruto to his own training. End of flashback. Well, in that case, I'll see you guys later, Naruto said. Haku and Kiba nodded and walked into the restaurant. Naruto, Kyuubi, and Kasumi had a nice meal in the restaurant, and it helped that Naruto still had enough money in his wallet to cover the three of them. The three had a great time, but they soon left to return to their training in the plains. Naruto trained until the sun set, making progress but not as much as he desired. He could go quite far now, but it was also a matter of maintaining momentum. He wanted to be able to do a continuous Haraishin, but it was more difficult than he anticipated. Hey Kyuubi-chan, do you have any ideas on how I should do this? Naruto inquired of his sexy vixen. Kyuubi shook her head in disbelief. When she fought Minato, she had the pleasure of seeing the Haraishin, but she didn't have the time to analyze it due to circumstances. Sorry, Naruto-kun, you'll just have to persevere for a little longer, Kyuubi said. Naruto nodded and continued to train, unaware that someone was watching him from afar. Wow, he's training really hard. I wonder if he could help me out, a green-haired girl thought to herself. She wore a short, sleeveless white midriff shirt with her fishnet armor underneath, long white armlets, and fishnet shorts with a soft white apron over top, and she had orange eyes. She also had a red wrapping around her back, which was probably for some reason. Girl, go over there. I see Kyuubi. Man, it's been a long time since I've seen her. I wonder how she got out of her seal. A massive beetle-like creature said to her container. The girl's name was Fu, and she was the Jinchuriki of the Nanabi, but she had fled her home, Takagakure, to escape the abuse she experienced there. She'd only escaped a few weeks before, so everything was still new to her. Fu was surprised to find another Jinchuriki, but it made her feel a little better. How do I know he's not going to attack me? Fu wondered. Nanabi sighed and decided to make fun of her container. You don't, and if things get worse, I'll help you out, so get a move on now, Nanabi demanded. Fu reluctantly left her hiding place and walked closer. Naruto had already detected her, but remained silent because she was not causing him any problems that he was aware of. He had formed a mental link with Kyuubi, and she informed him that it was the Nanabi's Jinchuriki. Naruto was taken aback by the revelation, but he didn't mind at all. He could tell Fu was getting closer to him, but she was being cautious, which made him laugh. You know, I don't bite, the blonde told the Nanabi Jinchuriki, shocking him. Naruto met her gaze, and he had to admit that Fu was rather adorable. Fu had to admit that Naruto was attractive in some ways. He really knew how to make the black and orange on his jacket stand out. Sorry, I'm just not used to being so close to people without them hurting me, Fu explained, raising an eyebrow at Naruto. Fu tried her best to smile at him, but it was strained, and Naruto could tell. Is there something the Nanabi Jinchuriki wants with me? Naruto inquired. Fu was surprised Naruto knew she was a Jinchuriki, but she chalked it up to his Biju telling him about her. Well, can I at least know your name? I didn't mean to interrupt your training, but I felt compelled to inquire, Fu asked, making Naruto smile. The blonde brushed off his clothes and smiled slyly. "My name is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, and it's a pleasure to meet you," Naruto introduced himself. Fu's eyes widened at the revelation and she shot up to Naruto with stars in her eyes. "Naruto Uzumaki. The same Naruto Uzumaki who fought Zabuza Mamachi in Wave and stopped the Ikabai from going wild?" Fu inquired, and Naruto, along with Kyuubi and Kasumi, blushed slightly at her actions. In a way, the three thought it was cute. "That's right, but how did you know that?" Naruto inquired. Fu nearly scoffed and searched her clothes and bag before pulling out a book and flipping through its pages. "Right here, you're in the bingo book," Fu exclaimed, excitedly. Naruto chuckled and nodded before deciding to rest his body and talk to Fu for a while. He was on the lookout for an attack as a precaution, but he didn't have to worry too much because there was little that caught him off guard anymore. Raymond's experience taught him this. "So, Fu-chan, what are you doing out here?" Naruto inquired, causing Fu to blush slightly at his affectionate use of her name. Fu then sighed and looked down at the ground. I ran away from Taki. I hated it there. They always treated me like dirt and would never give me the time of day for anything. The only reason I'm even alive is because of Nanabi," Fu said, smiling as she realized Nanabi was beaming with pride. Naruto nodded, knowing what that was like. Fu quickly turned her head to see Kyuubi correcting Kasumi's mid-jonin taijutsu stance. Suddenly, she heard Nanabi yelling her head off, and Fu got to the meat of the matter. "Can I ask you a question, Naruto-san?" Fu inquired. Naruto smiled and took a contemplative stance. "Well, you just did, but what's up?" Naruto inquired. Fu laughed at Naruto's small joke before returning to his seriousness. How did you free Kyuubi? Did you break your seal?" Fu inquired, and Naruto scratched the back of his head in embarrassment. "Well, it took some thought, but I got her out with a method of bypassing the seal. I could teach you the method, but that would require some expert knowledge on the mechanics of Fuinjutsu, which I don't think you know about," Naruto said. Fu lowered her head and shook her head negatively. Naruto sighed and gazed up at the sky for a few moments. "For the time being, Fu-chan, I'll give you this book, which is relatively short and explains the fundamentals of Fuinjutsu. Try reading it and you'll be fine until you understand it," Naruto said. Fu's face lit up with delight, but she raised an eyebrow at the damaged tree. "So, Naruto-san, what are you up to?" Fu inquired. Naruto made a hand signal to the tree. He expelled his clones and suddenly gripped his head, suffering from a severe headache. "Oh, it's nothing serious. Konoha is simply looking for a new cage, and our current candidate is being difficult," Naruto responded, rolling his eyes. This piqued Fu's interest, and Naruto told her about the majority of what happened. He wasn't sure why he was divulging mission information to someone he'd just met, but it seemed fine to him. Soon after, it was late, and Naruto told Fu about Konoha, both the good and the bad, but mostly the good. Fu became more interested in Konoha as she listened. It sounded like a fantastic location. She was afraid that people had harmed Naruto in the past, but he assured her that it wasn't nearly as bad, and that most of the bigotry had vanished for him. He told her about a particular stand that served the best ramen in the world, as well as about his clan. It all piqued Fu's interest, and her admiration for Naruto grew stronger with each passing hour. Naruto told her about Tsume, Hana, Kiba, Haku, Kushina, and all the other people he'd met. "Wow, Naruto-san, your life sounds so exciting and fun. It makes me wish I could be in Konoha. It doesn't sound like a bad place at all," Fu laughed. "How about you come back with me?" Naruto suggested. Fu paused, and a small blush appeared on her face as she heard those words. But I just met you," Fu objected, but Naruto smiled and waved him off. "Despite everything, we also told each other our life stories," Naruto insisted. "You're probably a missing nin right now, Fu-chan, and I can tell you don't like being chased, so why not come back with me?" Fu blushed and looked at the ground, trying to think of a reason to refuse Naruto's offer, but failing miserably. "Well, Naruto-san, if you don't mind, I guess that's okay with me," Fu said before walking away. But Naruto stopped her. "Do you have a place to stay?" Naruto inquired. Fu's face flushed with embarrassment. "I do not," Fu finally said, depressedly. Naruto laughed at her, making her even cuter when she pouted at him. Naruto motioned for Kyuubi and Kasumi to accompany him, and Fu examined the girl with Kyuubi. "Naruto-san, who's that?" Fu asked, pointing to Kasumi, who smiled and bowed slightly. "My name is Kasumi. I'm Naruto Familiar-sama's and one of his loves," Kasumi said, shocking Fu, and her heart sank for some reason. But Kasumi also pointed to Kyuubi. "And this is Kyuubi-sama, who is also one of Naruto loves Sama's," Kasumi said. and Naruto had to smack himself in the head for not teaching Kasumi the term punctuality. Fu's eyebrows were twitching by this point, and Nanabi's joke about not judging someone based on how you saw them only made it worse. Well, Fu-chan, let's go, you look hungry, Naruto said, and Fu laughed but shook her head negatively. No thank you, Naruto-san, I ate a few hours ago and I just want to go to bed, Fu said. And the four of them walked away from the plains, leaving the results of Naruto's training behind. Returning to the hotel, Naruto and Fu had just arrived at the hotel, and Naruto fished his keys from his pocket. He opened the door to his room, which was still empty as usual, but he didn't mind. He looked at the size of the bed and at everyone else. Alright, 4 people aren't going to fit into this thing, Naruto said, noticing Fu's blush as she looked at the single bed, and shook his head, blushing with her. And no Fu-chan, I didn't mean it that way. Why, you are not required to sleep in the same bed as me. We just met and all. I wasn't suggesting anything, Naruto said, trying to defend any honor he had left. Fu gave a soft laugh and Naruto's nervousness and sighed. Alright, it's Naruto-san, I don't mind too much, Fu said to him. Naruto nodded, and before he did, the covers Kyuubi disappeared into the seal and smiled. I'll just stay in here tonight. It's not so bad when you get used to it, Kyuubi said, hopping in her bed and going to sleep. Kasumi hinged into her dog form and waited for Naruto and Fu to lay down. Naruto allowed Fu to change into some clothes, but she said she didn't have much, so she slept in what she had. Naruto decided to do the same and only took off his jacket and pants, which left him in his sleeveless black t-shirt and some shorts. Fu blushed when she saw Naruto's toned arms and his toned chest that seemed to stretch the fabric of the shirt some. Damn it, I'm blushing. Calm down, Fu. Just calm down, Fu told herself and climbed in the bed. Naruto followed and pulled the covers over them. Kasumi took her spot on Naruto's stomach and Naruto turned out the light as both Jinchuriki went to sleep. Next morning, Naruto and Fu were still sleeping the day away, but suddenly the door bursted open, waking up the duo when they turned their gazes to see Haku and Kiba in the room. Naruto, we have a problem, are we interrupting something? Kiba asked while keeping up a feral grin, and Haku chuckled along with him. Naruto and Fu glanced at each other and blushed madly before Naruto spoke in his defense. I'll explain later, what's the problem? Naruto asked them. Haku dragged in an injured and unconscious Shizune and narrowed her eyes. Tsunade has gone to Orochimaru, Haku told him. Naruto felt the heaviest weight slam into his head when he heard that. She did what? She did what? Roared Naruto as he jumped out of bed. Naruto was clearly irritated, and the blonde dashed off to get his clothes. Fu simply remained in bed for a few moments longer before stepping out and grabbing her clothes as well. Shizune jerked awake to find herself in Naruto's room, where she saw the blonde himself and a girl she didn't recognize. Can you tell me what happened, Shizune-san? Naruto inquired. Shizune gave Naruto and the others a depressed look and told them how she stood up to Tsunade, and told her master that Dan and Noaki would not approve of what she was doing. Tsunade eventually knocked Shizune out after a heated fight. Naruto narrowed his eyes as he read the information, then strapped his fire and lightning swords to his back, leaving his wind sword on the side of his hip. Jiraiya burst through the window, startling Fu, but she saw he was a little weak at the time and helped him to the bed. Jiraiya rubbed his temples as he thanked the mysterious girl for her assistance. Tsunade really outdid herself this time, making an elixir that even I couldn't detect. No wonder she's a Sannin, Jiraiya said, and Naruto mentally cursed. He then made a Kai Bunshin, and Kyuubi slowly emerged from the seal and stretched herself awake. It appears that we all have a problem. Tsunade is no pushover, even if Naruto-kun did take her down. We should hurry up and meet them, Kyuubi insisted. Everyone nodded, except Jiraiya, who looked at the girl with green hair. I have a feeling I know you from somewhere, mind telling me your name? Jiraiya inquired. Fu paused before responding, turning to Naruto, who gave her a small grin and nodded that she could trust everyone in this room. The silent conversation gave Fu confidence, so he nodded. I'm Fu, or better known as the Nanabi Jinchuriki. I'm from Taki, but I escaped and became a rogue kunoichi, Fu explained, drawing a gasp from Haku and Kiba. Shizune was preoccupied with curing Jiraiya of the effects of Tsunade's drug. That's interesting, Jiraiya said before returning to the topic at hand. The clashing of metal soon drew everyone's attention to Naruto, who was twirling one of his kunai in his hand with a fierce glare that only grew stronger when the Shinsenagon appeared. If you think you're going to get out of this bet so easily, Ba-chan, you've got another thing coming, Naruto said, to which everyone nodded. Kasumi had transformed into a human and opened the door. So, what are we waiting for, Naruto-sama? Kasumi exclaimed as she ran out of the room. Naruto chuckled and chased after her, followed by Kyuubi, Fu, Haku, and Kiba. Shizune and Jiraiya were a little behind because Jiraiya was still feeling a little woozy from the drug. Shizune, you go, I'll catch up if I can. They need you more than I do right now, Jiraiya said. Shizune hesitated, but eventually nodded and followed the group. Together with Naruto and the others, Kasumi had picked up on Tsunade's scent, which led them to the outskirts of Tanzaku town. They all noticed Tsunade shivering on the ground, while Orochimaru and Kabuto smirked. They then raised their heads and locked gazes with Naruto's group, who had come to Tsunade's aid. On Naruto-kun and Team 7, and the Nanabi Jinchuriki, how quaint, Orochimaru licked his lips. Kabuto laughed as well, while Naruto gritted his teeth. Tsunade-bachan, do you realize how hopeless you are? Naruto asked. Tsunade seemed to calm down, but she still shivered when she saw Kiba and Haku next to him, as well as a red-haired woman and a girl with wolf ears. What are you and the others doing here? And Naruto? Tsunade inquired. Naruto cracked his knuckles and smiled. I'm here to keep you from making the biggest mistake of your life, Bachan. So watch us kick their asses until you actually become a Sannin who isn't afraid of blood. Naruto yelled as his fist glowed with chakra and he slammed it into the ground, causing it to shake violently. Tsunade's eyes widened at Naruto's use of superhuman strength, and she stopped shivering for a split second. Orochimaru and Kabuto narrowed their eyes at Naruto, finding him more troublesome. Well, this certainly raises the stakes, right Kabuto? Orochimaru inquired, and Kabuto smirked while adjusting his glasses and causing his left hand to glow with chakra. Alright, Kasumi-chan and Kyuubi-chan. You go handle the pedo, Haku, Kiba, and I will handle Kabuto, and Fu, can you look after Bachan? Naruto asked. Fu nodded, and everyone went about their business. Orochimaru thought he heard Naruto say Kyuubi-chan incorrectly, but he ignored it. He then pulled Kusanagi from his throat and chuckled as he looked at Kyuubi and Kasumi. He's always so creepy, eh Kyuubi-sama? Kasumi joked. Kyuubi smirked and took an Anbu Taijutsu stance, nodding. I haven't fought in a long time, and I hope he doesn't disappoint me, Kyuubi said as she and Kasumi engaged Orochimaru. Meanwhile, Naruto, Haku, and Kiba were dealing with Kabuto, who they knew was skilled. He was able to perfectly dodge Haku's sword strikes, as well as block and counter Kiba's hits. Naruto clenched his teeth and drew his fire sword to strike Kabuto, but the medic was as cunning as his master. Naruto slashed at Kabuto, but the medic ducked out of the way and backflipped. Naruto, Haku, and Kiba gathered their thoughts until they heard Kabuto snicker. Is this the best Team 7 can do? Pathetic. And you call yourself shinobi. You aren't even worthy of being in the service of Orochimaru-sama, Kabuto snarled. Naruto, Haku, and Kiba all narrowed their eyes as Akamaru growled at him. Kabuto's grin faded as Naruto closed his eyes and walked forward. Alright, Kabuto, then we won't hold back any longer, Haku. Kiba, let's try it now, Naruto said. While Naruto opened his eyes and his Sharingan blazed, Haku and Kiba grinned. Kabuto's eyes widened as he saw the blonde wielding the Uchiha Dojutsu that Orochimaru so desperately desired. He then heard cackling and noticed Naruto clutching his right hand. The cackle of lightning in Naruto's hand heightened his Sharingan's glare. Go, yelled Naruto. Kiba dashed forward, crossing his fingers as his chakra connected with Akamaru's. Cage Bunshin no Justu, Kiba yelled, and 6 Bunshins and 6 Akamaras appeared. Kiba and his Bunshins spun violently with Akamaru's clones and launched at Kabuto, who gasped and stepped back. Kiba yelled and spiraled at Kabuto, Tajugatsuga. Kabuto countered by leaping into the air and effortlessly avoiding all the Kibas and Akamaras spinning at him. He did this for a long time, and the friction of the spinning ripped his clothes. Kiba came to a halt and smiled. Kiba, get back, Naruto said, and Kiba did. Kabuto turned to see Naruto charging at him, his Chidori on fire. Kabuto chuckled and figured it would be easy to dodge Naruto because the Chidori could only work in a straight line. But as he was about to dodge, ice spikes appeared from the ground and held him in place. When he saw Haku with a gentle grin, Kabuto cursed, and he gasped when he saw Naruto. Chidori, yelled Naruto as he slammed the Chidori into Kabuto's chest. Kabuto screamed, and Naruto added more chakra to the Chidori, causing it to deal even more damage. Kabuto fell to the ground as the ice spikes began to break. Naruto's right hand held the Chidori remnants through a small lightning current, but it quickly stopped. Well, I can't say we were entirely serious, but I think that will suffice, Naruto explained. Haku and Kiba nodded and walked away, but Kabuto didn't stop there, slowly rising to his feet. Not bad, Kabuto said, but it's not over yet. Naruto and the others grumbled as they watched Kabuto's amazing healing abilities fade the damage done to him until he looked perfectly fine. I'm not Orochimaru assistant Sama's for nothing. I can heal my body regardless of how damaged it is, Kabuto explained. Naruto growled lowly as he saw Kabuto pull out a soldier pill to replenish his chakra. Naruto narrowed his eyes at the medic as Kabuto smiled. Both shinobi charged at each other, and Naruto kicked Kabuto in the face, but the medic saw it coming and quickly blocked it. Naruto's Sharingan flared in anticipation of Kabuto's block, and he brought his other foot around to hit Kabuto on the side. Kabuto winced at the pain, but steeled himself as he grabbed Naruto's right foot and jerked the blonde off balance. It was all Kabuto needed to press his arm against Naruto's chest, causing the blonde to grit his teeth in agony before being kicked across the plains by Kabuto. Damn it, Naruto exclaimed as Haku and Kiba rushed to his assistance. However, Naruto wasn't the only one feeling the effects, as Kyuubi gripped her chest in pain and Kasumi kicked Orochimaru across the field only to see her friend collapse. "Are you okay, Kyuubi-sama?" Kasumi inquired. Kyuubi nodded and began to take deep breaths. She was clearly in distress. "What is this pain? Is Naruto-kun in danger?" Kyuubi wondered as Orochimaru smirked. He swallowed his blade into his throat while glaring at Kyuubi and Kasumi. For Kyuubi, it didn't do much, but for Kasumi, it made her slightly cower. "Well, you two are very interesting, especially you with the red hair. You exude power as if it were second nature. How would you like to join me in my quest for power?" Orochimaru asked. Kasumi growled at him as Kyuubi gave him a painful chuckle. "Humans like you are a dime a dozen. You're no different from the humans of the past, and I doubt the humans of the future will be any different from you," Kyuubi said. "To answer your question, I'd rather not join those who give hickeys to children." Orochimaru twitched his brow at that last remark before shrugging his shoulders and smirking. "Very well, then you can both go to hell together," Orochimaru said as he ran at them. However, his sword was blocked by a kunai, which caused Orochimaru to scowl slightly. "Well, looks like I just made it in time," Jiraiya said, a small grin on his face. Orochimaru backed up and cursed his good fortune in seeing Jiraiya, but then he had an idea. It made him happy. "Well, Jiraiya, you're still a perv as usual and a loser," Orochimaru said, making Jiraiya laugh. "Still the same pedo as always, Orochimaru?" Jiraiya asked. Orochimaru narrowed his eyes and gritted his teeth before slowly raising his hands to his mouth and tearing off his arm wrappings to reveal a seal. "Now then, Kabuto, come to me," yelled Orochimaru. Kabuto complied and remained close to his master. "Do it," Orochimaru said. Kabuto nodded and traced his thumb across Orochimaru's seal. Meanwhile, Naruto carefully rose to his feet, assisted by Kiba and Haku. He coughed up some blood before his hazy vision revealed Kabuto about to slam his hands on the ground. "Tsunade Bachan, get ready to hand over that necklace right now," Naruto said, clutching his kunai. Tsunade observed Naruto wobble briefly before standing perfectly still and breathing slowly. "It's no or never," Naruto said as he tossed the kunai at Kabuto. Tsunade and Shizune watched as the kunai flew towards the medic nin, as did Kiba and Haku. Connect your chakra to the kunai's seals, let the distance between them and you make the difference in your chakra, and just go. As the kunai approached Kabuto, Naruto vanished in yellow lightning, shocking everyone who saw him and quickly turning to Kabuto's location, shocking the snake Sannin and the medic nin. Naruto smiled and extended his right hand. Naruto slammed a blue sphere into Kabuto's back as it formed. "Rasengan," yelled Naruto, sending Kabuto flying across the fields and into a tree. Everyone was taken aback by him, and Naruto smirked. "I win, Tsunade Bachan. Give me that necklace right now," Naruto yelled, but Tsunade couldn't respond. She had just lost. Naruto had executed a flawless Hiraishin. Tsunade appeared to choke slightly as she gazed at the ground. She then smiled briefly and rose to her feet. Jiraiya gasped, as did Orochimaru, who conveniently forgot Naruto was right next to him. Naruto returned his gaze to Orochimaru, his eyes filled with a deep hatred for the man in front of him. "It's your turn now," Naruto said. Orochimaru first noticed Naruto, then Haku, Kiba, Jiraiya, Tsunade, Shizune, Kyuubi, and Kasumi. He was severely outmatched, outclassed, and currently out of luck. Orochimaru sighed and looked at Tsunade. "Aside from you, Tsunade, there are plenty of other uses," Orochimaru said as he vanished in a snake shunshin. Naruto narrowed his eyes and turned to look for Kabuto, but he was nowhere to be found, and Naruto sighed. "Well, that's just perfect. He flees like a snake. Oh well, at least what are you guys looking at?" Naruto inquired, noticing everyone's stares. The blonde blushed as he was bombarded by everyone's attention and the excitement. "Naruto-sama, you did it. You did the Hiraishin perfectly," Kasumi exclaimed, hugging Naruto. Kiba ruffled Naruto's blonde hair as he chuckled. Jiraiya appeared to be looking in the sky and smiling as Kyuubi, Haku, and Shizune smiled at Naruto and his accomplishment. Minato, if you could see him today, you would be proud of your son. He mastered your most difficult technique. He truly is amazing, Jiraiya said mentally. Last but not least was Tsunade, who approached Naruto and proceeded to bonk him on the head. Naruto narrowed his eyes at her before catching sight of one of her soothing smiles. You're a stubborn brat, but a deal's a deal, Tsunade said, taking off her necklace and gently wrapping it around Naruto's neck. Tsunade sighed as everyone watched the green jewel gleam in the sun. Well, I guess I'll be the goddamn Hokage then, Tsunade said, grinning. Well, that's all well and good, and I'm glad Ba-chan, Naruto said, and Tsunade's brow twitched at his remark. If you keep calling me Ba-chan, you'll never meet another mission above C rank again, Tsunade said, raising an eyebrow at Naruto. He wasn't sure if she'd follow through on her threat, but he'd be damned if she outdid him after everything they'd just done. So, but it ain't happening, Ba-chan, Naruto grinned, and Tsunade sighed at him and his cheekiness. Jiraiya then placed a hand on her shoulder and expressed her sorrow. Tsunade, he calls Sarutobi-sensei Jiji. He calls me Iro Senin. You're not getting out of this unless we can get him to stop, so just accept it, Jiraiya said. Tsunade arched her brow and sagged. What have I gotten myself into? Tsunade wondered as the group began to walk back, but not before Tsunade noticed Kyuubi walking alongside them. It just occurred to me, but who are those two? Tsunade inquired, indicating Fu and Kyuubi. Naruto decided to introduce the two to Tsunade because she didn't know who they were. First and foremost, this is Fu-chan from Takagakure, and I want her to come to Konoha with us, Naruto said, shocking Fu and the others. Fu flushed at Naruto's words and looked down at the ground. Before she said anything, everyone noticed and smiled at her performance. I never said I'd go to Konoha with you, Naruto-san, Fu said, and Naruto smiled at her. Well, if you don't, I could just capture you as a missing nin and hand you over to Taki for the reward, Naruto said, and everyone's jaws dropped. Fu immediately had a terrified expression on her face and clutched Naruto's clothes. Please don't do that. I couldn't stand it if I went back. Please don't send me back, Fu said, chuckling. Everyone knew he was joking and would never actually do such a thing. Naruto smiled as he lightly touched Fu's green hair. Sorry, Fu-chan. I didn't mean it. It was just a joke. Besides, you really should join Konoha. If you're worried about Taki, don't be. From now on, you're under my protection as the head of the Uzumaki Namikaze clan, Naruto said. And Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Shizune all gasped. Jiraiya grabbed Naruto's shoulders and violently shook the blonde. When did you become clan head? I never heard about this, Jiraiya exclaimed, with Tsunade and Shizune nodding in agreement. Naruto laughed at them and began to explain his mother and the council while Naruto found his compound and was named the youngest clan head alongside Sasuke. As they walked, Naruto told them about Haku, his first member other than himself, which made the girl blush slightly as she remembered her plea. Tsunade, Shizune, and Jiraiya were all shocked by Naruto's actions and couldn't wait to return to Konoha to see the compound. Tsunade asked, pointing to Kyuubi, so who is this? Naruto rubbed the back of Kyuubi's head as he grinned. This was going to be a disaster on multiple levels. Before I tell you what I'd like you to wear, I'd like you to wear this chakra restriction seal, Naruto said, holding up the seal. Tsunade was perplexed as to why she had to wear one, but she didn't object and put on the seal. Naruto sighed and began his speech. Meanwhile, Kiba and Haku took a step back in anticipation of the revelation. Jiraiya and Kasumi followed suit. This is Kyuubi-chan, or Miss Kyuubi no Yoko, my tailed beast, Naruto said, widening Tsunade and Shizune's eyes. Both were about to intervene when Naruto intervened. Please talk to me and I'll explain. Just don't do anything I know you'll regret, Naruto said. Tsunade and Shizune looked at Naruto as if he were insane, but they nodded and waited for Naruto to explain. Naruto told them about meeting Kyuubi when he was younger and how she helped shape him into the person he is today. He had stated that the attack on Konoha was not her fault and that he had forgiven her. He even told them she was one of his friends. Tsunade and Shizune turned to Jiraiya, who nodded and turned to face Kyuubi. Well, if Naruto-san thinks she's okay, Tsunade-sama, I've got no real complaints. It sounds like it was all a misunderstanding, Shizune said, and Tsunade had to nod. Both remained cautious, but trusted Naruto's judgment in the matter, and everyone returned to pack. Back in Konoha, Sarutobi sighed after hearing the news from Tsume and Hana. There was a problem in the clan, and the main issue was status. The elderly Hokage sighed and turned to face Tsume and Hana. The Sandaime cringed slightly as he realized the two were dead serious. And there's no other way out, Sarutobi inquired. Tsume and Hana shook their heads, and Sarutobi sighed for the 100th time that day. He knew it was a clan issue, but having Naruto involved was vexing. Alright, Tsume, get this resolved as soon as possible. Man, Tsume, could you date someone who didn't draw so much attention to himself? Sarutobi asked, and Tsume cackled. Tsume began to respond as Hana gave a small grin. You know that's no fun, Hokage-sama. Naruto-kun is my mate, and I'll stand by him, as will Hana. Thank you for accepting this spar, Hokage-sama, Tsume said as she and Hana bowed. Sarutobi nodded and motioned for them to leave. The Sandaime sighed, knowing Naruto would be furious when he found out. Akira apparently didn't like Naruto taking what he thought was his. Naruto-kun, hurry up and bring Tsunade back so I can retire. I'm too old for this nonsense, Sarutobi said softly as he rested his head on the desk. He just wanted to be done with this job and spend the rest of his days in peace, which seemed to elude him with each passing day. A Chunin appeared through the door, holding a scroll. Hokage-sama, urgent news. It's probably important, said the Chunin, causing Sarutobi to groan. Wasn't it just one thing after another? Okay, good work. Let me see it, Sarutobi said, and the Chunin handed him the scroll before leaving. Hiruzen narrowed his eyes as he read the scroll's contents. They immediately widened, and Sarutobi dropped the pipe from his lips. Is he for real? What's the Raikage thinking? Pondered Sarutobi before sighing. When Naruto finished his business with the Inuzuka compound, he was going to have a long conversation. Everything seemed to be centered on the blonde now. It was excruciating to consider. Returning to Naruto and the others, everyone was packed and ready to leave. Tsunade found it strange that she would be leaving and returning to the place she had said she would never return to. Naruto and his friends were relieved to have completed their mission, and they even made a new friend as a result of it. Alright, let's go back to Konoha. I can't wait to relax and spend some time in my bed, Kiba said, and everyone agreed. Kyuubi and Kasumi morphed into their animal forms and took up positions on Naruto's head and in his jacket, respectively. Everyone started their journey to Konoha and spent the majority of the time talking about various topics. Everyone arrived in Konoha after about 3 days of traveling, and thankfully there were no problems. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief as the gates came into view. Naruto made a point of placing the seal around his compound and in strategic locations throughout the village. When the entire group arrived, Izumo and Kotsu looked up from the gate stand and watched as everyone approached them. Naruto, Haku, Kiba, and Tititsu Tsunade-sama, Izumo exclaimed, his gaze widening at the female Sannin. Tsunade smiled and said hello to the two Chunin before turning to face the village. This place hasn't changed at all, it really takes me back, Tsunade said as everyone, or almost everyone, walked through. Who is she? She's not from our village, Kotsu said, almost drawing a kunai and aiming it at Fu. The Nanabi Jinchuriki tensed, but Naruto rushed to her aid. Easy guys, she's with me, she was protected by the Uzumaki Namikaze clan, Naruto told them. Kotsu and Izumo exchanged blank stares with Naruto before restowing their kunai in their pouches. Oh well, Naruto, as long as she's under your protection, she'll be fine. But you might want to run it by Hokage-sama just in case, Izumo suggested, and Naruto took note. Fu walked past the gates and immediately thanked Naruto for rescuing her. Naruto assured her that it was not a problem, and the group continued walking through the village and towards the Hokage mansion, with Tsunade and Shizune taking in the sights of their former home. The Hokage mansion. Naruto and the rest of the group had finally arrived at the Hokage mansion, and after some time, they walked into the office, where everyone filed in while Sarutobi noticed a new face, which he would deal with later because he had 2 students in the room with him. You're back, Tsunade, Sarutobi said, and Tsunade smiled sheepishly. Nice to see you, Sarutobi-sensei, Tsunade replied, making the old Hokage smile and nod. After everyone in the room gave a detailed description of the mission, Sarutobi was shocked to learn that Orochimaru had gone to Tsunade to fix his arms, but was relieved that he never got the chance. He was even more taken aback when he discovered Naruto had mastered the Hiraishin. It was probably a watershed moment for the young Tokubetsu Jonin. That's amazing, Naruto-kun. I can't believe you finished it. Minato would be proud of you, Sarutobi said. Naruto blushed, but nodded and thanked the Sandaime for the compliment. Hiruzen gave a small smile as he reread the report. Well, it's obvious that this was in a borderline S-rank mission. Naruto, Haku, and Kiba, I'll have your appropriate mission earnings sent to your accounts in a few days, Sarutobi said. Everyone nodded, and the Hokage cast a glance at Fu, who appeared to be trying to hide behind Naruto's shoulder. Everyone thought it was cute, but knowing how Fu was raised and treated in Taki, it was no surprise that she would be wary of powerful figures in the villages. And who is this? Hiruzen inquired of everyone. Naruto smirked and grabbed Fu, placing her right next to him, but she grabbed one of his jacket folds, keeping him close to her. Naruto assumed it was the insecurity she had felt, but he didn't mind and neither did anyone else. This is Fu-chan Jiji. She's a rogue who ran from Taki because of their abusive nature towards her. We found her while looking for Tsunade Bachin. She's also the Jinchuriki of the Nenabi, Naruto explained to Sarutobi. The Sandaime widened his eyes and gave Fu a brief inspection. Naruto, you know we'd have to return her to Taki unless she has something that can keep her here in Konoha, Sarutobi revealed. And Fu tightened her small grip on Naruto's clothes a little more and turned to Naruto for help. But when she saw the blonde's smile, she felt at ease. Well, she does have something that will keep her here. She is under my protection as the clan head of the Uzumaki Namikaze clan. And if I remember correctly from the laws and rules I read about, it states in one of the books that any time a person from outside the village comes under the protection of someone in the clan, namely the clan head, that person is entitled to stay in the village so long as they follow the village laws, and the clan accepts responsibility for their actions. That is correct, Naruto-kun, but are you sure you can trust her? Sarutobi asked, not wanting Naruto to make a mistake as a young clan leader that he would later regret. Naruto narrowed his eyes, then turned to face Fu, who smiled and gave him a pleading look. I'm sure Hokage Jiji, Naruto said. Sarutobi nodded and let Fu stay, but not before telling her to read up on Konoha's laws and other things. Fu thanked the man for his kindness, but not everything was finished. Naruto-kun, there is one more thing I need to talk to you about, Sarutobi said, his tone warning Naruto that this was probably bad news. Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Shizune noticed it, while Kiba and Haku, knowing Naruto, could tell it was a problem. What is it, Jiji? Naruto inquired, a small glare on his face. It has to do with the Inuzuka clan, Sarutobi mentioned, and Naruto and Kiba were both curious. Usually, nothing in the clan requires the Hokage's attention because it is relatively peaceful, and everyone gets along. Granted, fights happen from time to time, but something about this news bothered Naruto slightly. Alright, Jiji, Haku-chan, take Fu-chan to the compound and tell Kasan that she's with us. I'll inform you about the situation when I get back, Naruto said, a small air of authority in his voice. Haku wanted to retort, but she saw the look in Naruto's eyes that just told her to go, so she did. Hi Naruto-kun, Haku said as she and Fu walked out of the room, albeit reluctantly. Kiba decided to stay because it involved his clan and he wanted to know what was going on. Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Shizune stayed because they were concerned for Naruto and the Inuzuka clan, or because Tsunade was about to be Hokage and needed to know the details. Alright, Jiji, what is it? Is there something wrong with Tsum-chan or Hana-chan? Naruto asked quickly, and Kiba tensed slightly at his tone. No, Naruto-kun, nothing is wrong with them, but it's a clan issue. You see, 3 days ago Tsum and Hana came to me and told me that there was an internal clan issue. It seems that someone in the clan didn't like you courting Tsum and he wants to fight you for the right to mate with her and rule the clan. His name is Akira Inuzuka and he's considered the strongest male in the compound. Sarat the blonde narrowed his eyes and gritted his teeth in response to the information. This sounded like Akira was treating Tsum like a prize or possession. He would gladly fight anything to stay with her. But the way this happened didn't sit well with Naruto. It didn't sit well with Kiba either. The Inuzuka was also aware of Akira's existence. He knew Akira was the strongest male, only surpassed by his mother as the strongest member. While he was strong, he was also the most arrogant and conceited jerk some of the compound knew about. Some members had told Tsum to kick him out of the compound, but she always said that the Inuzuka take care of one of their own unless it was something truly inexcusable. He wants to fight me over Tsum-chan, Naruto inquired, and Sarutobi nodded. He couldn't really dispute it himself because it was a clan issue. Even if he was the Hokage, he could if it would cause harm to the village. But this was over a minor issue, so he couldn't. And what would happen if I didn't fight him? Naruto asked, drawing everyone's attention to him. Kiba was probably the most concerned that Naruto would not fight for the right to be with Tsum. But after knowing Naruto for years, Kiba had come to expect the unexpected. Well, he would win by default, and Tsum would be his. Granted, I believe she would fight him to remain single, but he would be named as the compound's leader anyway, Hiruzen replied. Naruto narrowed his eyes and looked down at the ground, his hair obscuring his vision. Everyone was silent as they awaited Naruto's response to the situation. But suddenly Naruto's chakra flared as he balled his fists. I'll kick his ass. Tsum-chan is no object, but she's mine, and I refuse to let anyone take her or Hana-chan from me. Naruto asked, and everyone smiled. Kiba, Tsunade, Jiraiya, Shizune, and Sarutobi all grinned. I'm not sure, Naruto-kun. You'll have to ask either Tsume or Hana, but I know it might be next week or a few days later just to give you some time to rest from your mission, Sarutobi said. Naruto nodded and walked out the door, followed by Kiba. Ironic that he's so protective of Tsume and Hana. I hope I can watch that fight, Jiraiya chuckled. Tsunade and Shizune both nodded before Tsunade raised her hand. 1,000 yen that the Gaki kicks his ass, Tsunade yelled. Tsunade gave an embarrassed chuckle before everyone smiled. I got 2,000 yen on Naruto-kun, Shizune exclaimed. Normally, she wouldn't bet, but you never get a chance to bet on a sure thing like this. Sarutobi and Jiraiya chuckled, but then decided to bet as well, knowing how powerful Naruto was. It also helped that he would never give up, even if it meant death. Naruto and Kiba. Naruto was enraged as the two boys walked back to the Inuzuka compound. He knew from Kyuubi and Tsume that being the alpha male in certain situations would present challenges, but he was still enraged that someone would try to take Tsume away from him. He'd be damned if he ever lost Tsume to someone else. When the two arrived at the compound, Naruto grabbed the door and slid it open. He and Kiba both removed their shoes and entered the compound. Naruto looked around for Tsume or Hana, but then there was yelling in the back, which drew quite a few Inuzuka to the fight. So Naruto and Kiba followed the noise until they saw Hana arguing with Akira. Akira, you're acting like a spoiled brat. Kasan isn't yours to take, Hana yelled, and Akira gritted his teeth at Hana, slightly increasing his ferocity. And that brat has the right to take her, Hana. I'm much stronger than him. Sure, he's a Tokubetsu Jonin, but he hardly lacks the experience of one. Face Hana, both you and Tsume-sama know I'm better to lead the clan than he is. He already has his own clan to lead, so why is he with us? Akira asked. I'm here because I love Tsume-chan and Hana-chan. I care for them as my loved ones, not as objects like you, Naruto said, turning everyone around to face him. Some murmured, while others seemed pleased to see the blonde. Akira, on the other hand, gritted his teeth and his feral features emerged. Naruto was not backing down either. Because of Kyuubi, his eyes were slits and his whiskers were more defined. Akira's chakra flared, as did Naruto's. You're just a brat, kid. Tsume-sama deserves better than you. And that's exactly what I am, Akira said with a grin. Naruto narrowed his eyes at Akira and could already tell. Kiba was right, he's no joke, but he's definitely cocky and arrogant. I'd never lose to someone like this, Naruto thought, as Kyuubi smirked from on top of his head. Damn right you won't, Naruto-kun. I didn't train you for all those years just for you to lose to someone like that, Kyuubi remarked, and Naruto nodded. What's going on out here? Tsume exclaimed as she noticed Naruto locking eyes with Akira. While she was walking to the two, some of the members told Tsume what had happened, and the Inuzuka head instantly scowled at Akira. Naruto looked up from Akira to see his girlfriend approaching them. Akira broke his gaze too, but he huffed his annoyance and walked away with a sour expression on his face, his companion growling at them before walking away. When the fighting stopped, Naruto sighed and the majority of the clan dispersed. Tsume sighed with Naruto, but she then gave him a small smile. Wasn't it not what you expected, Naruto-kun? Tsume inquired. Naruto shook his head and rubbed the back of his neck. Kiba had inquired as to how this all transpired, and Hana had explained the situation to him while they were gone. He's always been a stubborn one, but now he's gone overboard, Tsume told them. Everyone agreed with her, and they all knew Akira didn't really love Tsume. He may have said it out loud and to her privately, but they could tell his heart wasn't in it. So, Tsume-chan, when do we fight? Naruto inquired. Tsume raised an eyebrow, as did Hana, and Naruto smiled as he walked past them, smacking Tsume's ass and feeling Hana's ass, causing the girl to yell out and blush at his actions. Kiba's brow furrowed, and the tree turned to face Naruto. What? Tsume-chan and Hana-chan are mine. I'm not giving them to anyone, Naruto said, making Tsume laugh. Kiba rolled his eyes and smiled as Hana blushed at his words. You really like the ass, Naruto-kun, don't you? Tsume inquired. Naruto blushed but did not respond, but his blush was all Tsume and Hana needed to know. Kiba then groaningly stretched and began to walk into the house. Well, I'm going to change because Tenten and I have a date in about an hour, Kiba said, walking away, leaving a snickering Naruto and two smiling Inuzuka women behind. That reminds me, Hana-chan, before I left, I was able to book a new restaurant that just opened last week, Naruto said. Hana raised an eyebrow before recalling the location's name, and she gasped at him. You booked the Red Dragon? Hana inquired, prompting Naruto to nod. Hana knew the place was probably insanely expensive, but with Naruto's assets, it wasn't impossible for him to get on the list for the restaurant. Yeah, I wanted to take you on a date with me, so I booked it and was going to tell you about it. But then the mission came up and everything, so I waited until now to tell you, Naruto explained. Tsume chuckled as he patted Hana on the shoulder. Well, Hana, it appears you have a busy night planned. I wish I could go, but I've got some mission reports to fill out. You two have fun, Tsume said as he walked into the house, leaving the two behind. Naruto and Hana both blushed. So, when do we go out now that I have a date? Hana inquired. Naruto smiled and planned a date for the two. It's tomorrow, and I'll pick you up at 7, Naruto replied. Hana nodded and kissed Naruto on the cheek, causing the blonde to blush. Well, I'll go find something to wear then. Oh Naruto, on an Inuzuka tradition, the fight is next week in the back of the compound where all fights are held, Hana said. Naruto took that information to heart and remembered it. Alright then, thanks for the information Hana-chan. I promise I'm not going to lose you or Tsume-chan to anyone, Naruto said with a thumbs up. Hana gently giggled and nodded before walking back to the house, but she returned for one more piece of information. Oh Naruto-kun, I forgot to tell you, but Anko and Kurenai wanted to see you about something when you got back, Hana said. Naruto nodded and left the compound to its own devices. Right now, Naruto was glad he placed the seals around his house as he closed his eyes and locked his chakra onto one of the 3 seals he had placed around the compound and instantly vanished in the hurricane towards his compound, Namikaze compound. While Naruto was busy at the Inuzuka compound, Haku took Fu there and let her explore. Fu was astounded because the compound appeared to be peaceful and tranquil, which she adored. We have a lot of rooms, Fu, Haku said. Fu nodded absently and walked around the house. When Fu chose a room, she quickly unpacked her belongings, but she didn't unpack because Haku wanted to show the Nanabi Jinchuriki around more, and she then introduced Fu to Kushina. Kushina had smiled at the girl and invited her to stay as long as she wanted. Fu nodded and went to work on the Fuinjutsu that Naruto had given her. It appeared to be relatively simple, and Nanabi helped explain some things she didn't understand, making it easier for her. Naruto unexpectedly appeared in the living room of the house, nearly startling Fu from his reading. Oh, Fu-chan, I didn't mean to disturb your reading. I'll leave you alone, Naruto apologized and turned to leave, but Fu stopped him and blushed slightly while looking at the ground. Thank you Naruto for putting yourself and your clan on the line for me. I've never had anyone protect me this much before, so I just wanted to thank you, Fu said as he waited for Naruto to respond. He didn't, and Fu was surprised when she felt his chiseled body over hers. She flushed profusely, but when she heard Naruto speak, she calmed down. No need to thank me, Fu-chan, I'd do it again if given the chance, and you're always welcome here, Naruto said. Fu nodded, a few tears streaming down her cheeks. Kushina and Haku, as well as Kyuubi and Kasumi, were all smiling at them. It astounded everyone that Naruto would never leave any of them feeling alone. Kasumi had never liked anyone in the Inuzuka clan before meeting Naruto. Haku was simply with Zabuza and was never able to fully laugh or smile like she was. Kyuubi had never had one, and she was feared until she met her blonde. They could all see that if given the chance, he could make any girl happy. Naruto then let go of Fu and gasped. Oh, that's right, I have to go see what Anko-chan and Kurenai-chan want, Naruto thought to himself. Everyone laughed at Naruto's innocence in certain situations, and Fu gradually let him go. I'll be back later, Fu, then I'll help you with your Fuinjutsu, Naruto said, and Fu nodded. Kyuubi and Kasumi were still with him when he ran out the door, but they didn't have anything to do so they decided to stick around Naruto a little longer. Naruto found Anko and Kurenai in a training field after some searching, and the blonde jumped to the field to see them talking. Anko-chan, Kurenai-chan, how have you been? Naruto called out, and the two Jonin turned to see their equal in rank walk over to them and give him a small smile. Hey Gaki, I take it Hana told you to meet us? Anko inquired, and Naruto nodded. That's right, Anko-chan. So, why did you two require my services? Naruto asked, and Anko and Kurenai grinned at each other, making Naruto wonder if he had asked the right question. Well, Naruto, do you have the Sharingan? Kurenai inquired, and Naruto nodded, not knowing where they were going with this, but he listened to them out. That's right. What exactly do you require? Naruto inquired, and Kurenai and Anko both grinned again. I want us to have a Jinjutsu fight. I heard about the Sharingan's Jinjutsu and its power, and we'd like you to train us to overcome it, Kurenai said, raising an eyebrow. They wanted to be trained by him. That was almost like a dream if he ever had one like it. Well, Gaki, will you teach us how to match up to the Sharingan? Anko inquired, and Naruto was about to respond when he accidentally snickered, leaving the two women puzzled. So, basically, I'm your guinea pig? Naruto asked, mocked, and Kurenai narrowed her eyes at him. Anko moved quickly and rested her arm on Naruto's shoulder. Awa, don't be like that, Gaki. You're always training, so why not help us out? We'd be grateful. What can we do to entice you to say yes? Anko inquired, and Kurenai immediately stuttered. Anko, Naruto-san is dating Tsume. I don't think she'd like you hitting on Naruto-san like this, Kurenai retorted, and Anko simply smiled. Naruto closed his eyes for a second and smirked. All right, he said as the two women turned to face him. I'll assist Kurenai-san and Anko-san. I don't mind, but I have one request, Naruto said, and both Jonin arched their brows and shrugged, assuming it was to treat him to some ramen. But Naruto gave them a mysterious grin that made their hair stand on end. It's simple, and we'll make it interesting. If you win, I'll train you for free. But if I win, I get one date with each of you for training, Naruto said with a sly grin. Kurenai and Anko both widened their eyes, but the latter gave a smirk and nodded. Fine with me. What are your thoughts, Nai-chan? Kurenai sighed as he turned from Naruto to Anko and back. Okay, I guess. What is it, Naruto-san? Kurenai inquired, and Naruto widened his grin and crossed his fingers. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Naruto yelled, and 6 clones appeared, 3 wielding a 3-Tomo Sharingan and the other 3 wielding the Byakugan. If you two come take these 6 down, I'll train you and I lose, but if you lose to one, I win, Naruto told them, giving Anko a bigger grin and Kurenai a look of interest. All right with me. Are you ready, Nai-chan? Kurenai also did a simple stretch before taking a kunai from her pouch. Ready. Be prepared, Naruto-san. You just made the worst bet of your life, Kurenai said, and the real Naruto smiled as both Jonin charged his clones. Well, I would have helped them anyway. But this is more interesting, right, Kyuubi-chan? Naruto inquired, and Kyuubi chuckled and jumped off Naruto's shoulder, before returning to her human form and allowing her red, vibrant hair to flow down. You're such a natural prankster, Naruto-kun, Kyuubi said. Well, I try, Naruto said, seeing Anko get kicked in the stomach. Oh, that's gotta hurt. Oh, that's gotta hurt, the two thought as they continued to watch the Jonin spar with the clones. When Naruto and Kyuubi saw Kurenai and Anko panting on the ground, they laughed. It was late in the day, and there were still 2 clones remaining. Anko had to curse the fact that Naruto was talented enough to be a Jonin. The blonde was such a pain in the buttocks, and his clones were even worse. Naruto had apparently mastered an exercise in which his clones could take more damage and not dispel it. It was a difficult chakra control exercise, but Naruto completed it and Anko sighed. I'm out, Gaki, Anko admitted defeat. Kurenai agreed with her best friend and nodded. The clones simply wouldn't give her the time of day to cast a genjutsu, and even if she did, it was either dispelled or seen through by the Byakugan. Kurenai sighed in disappointment. Both Jonin realized they had a lot more to learn. One thing was certain, if it was Naruto, they could really improve. They knew the blonde had that kind of spark in him and that they could benefit from his training, even if it irritated them that they lost. I give up too, Naruto-san, Kurenai said, and the real Naruto chuckled before dispelling the clones and walking over to the 2 tired Jonin. They both saw his sly grin and knew their fates were sealed with that bet, but they also learned an important lesson. Don't put money on Naruto. Well, it appears that I have won, ladies. Because it is late, we will begin your training tomorrow morning at one of the usual Jonin training grounds. For now, you both can rest and enjoy the evening air, Naruto said. Anko simply nodded, feeling the cool breeze blow through her hair alongside Kurenai. So, when are you going to take us on a date like you want? Anko inquired, and both were met with another grin from Naruto. I'll keep that part of the bet. Just know that you'll like it, Naruto said as he grabbed Kyuubi and walked away. Kurenai and Anko both sighed as they remained on the ground in the field. We never speak of this to anyone, Kurenai said, causing Anko to chuckle painfully while rubbing her sides. Awa, what's the matter, Nai-chan? I'm not afraid of going out with Naru-kun. Tsume said he's like a beast in the bed, so why shouldn't we jump at the chance? Anko inquired, and Kurenai blushed instantly at her friend's words. Because he's so much younger than us, aren't you worried about what people will think? Kurenai inquired, to which Anko scoffed. She wouldn't be herself if she worried about what other people thought. Sure, she wanted to be accepted by others for more than just being the so-called snake bitch, but it's better to be accepted for yourself than for something else. Please, Nai-chan, the Gaki is an adult in the eyes of the shinobi world. Tsume's already gotten with him and no one seems to care, so why should you or I? Anko asked, and Kurenai had to concede. She despised it when Anko spoke sense. It was so unlike her friend to be that way. Kurenai huffed and settled for staring at the setting sun over the sky. I despise it when you make sense, Kurenai said, and Anko burst out laughing and nodded. I like to think I can sneak one in every now and then, Anko countered, and Kurenai simply closed her eyes. Well, if you don't have any problems, why don't you date him first? Kurenai suggested. I'd like to, Anko said to the Genjutsu mistress, but it's the Gaki's decision, so I guess we'll just be on edge for the next few days. Kurenai sighed and then laughed. We just fought 6 Naruto bunchins for 4 hours and I'm still tense, even with this pleasant breeze, Kurenai admitted, and Anko nodded. Would you like to go to the hot springs when our arms and legs feel better? Anko suggested, and Kurenai immediately smiled. I couldn't think of anything better, she said, and the two lingered in the plains to recover from their fight. Naruto is involved. Naruto appeared in front of his compound and went inside to see Fu, Haku, and Kushina practicing outside. When the blonde saw them working, he chuckled and was about to go upstairs when Haku stopped him. Naruto-kun, I have something for you, Haku said, turning to see what she wanted. Haku left the fields and went into the house, and she soon returned with a large stack of papers that made Naruto sweat drop. Naruto asked, Haku-chan, what's that? Haku smiled and placed them on a table in the living room next to the couch. Anbu came over and handed me these papers. They gave it to me because I am your vassal and the first clan member. It's your clan's rules and responsibilities, as well as some fealty papers about those who will join your clan in the future, and the land surrounding it, so this was the dreaded paperwork that all the cage feared, said Haku, and Naruto mentally shuddered. He now understood how Sarutobi felt, and he had the feeling Tsunade was going through hell as well. Okay, that's fine. Thank you very much, Haku-chan. I'll get right on it, Naruto said, and the blonde sat down on the couch. He took a paper and looked it over. He could have used his cage bunchins for this, but sometimes it was best to look things over for yourself. So the blonde reluctantly looked them over. The first sheet was about his responsibilities as a clan leader and some finalizations. Naruto signed his signature at the bottom of the paper and wrote some additional things before placing it adjacent to the stack in front of him. Man, this is so boring, Naruto grumbled, but he did it anyway as he heard Fu, Haku, and Kushina laugh at him, making Naruto glare at them. Are any of the foxes good at managing, Kyuubi-chan? Naruto inquired, and Kyuubi nodded that there were a few, and Naruto thanked Kami for the information. The blonde bit his thumb and went through the summoning hand signs. Kuchio's no jutsu, Naruto yelled, and a puff of smoke appeared to block his view. But it quickly dissipated to reveal a fox with crimson fur and one tail, which looked around before bowing to Naruto. Hello there, Naruto-sama. How can I assist you? Naruto grinned and placed the fox on the couch as the fox inquired. Do you think you could assist me with some paperwork? Naruto inquired, and the fox nodded, looking at the large stack of papers. Naruto-sama, of course. It shouldn't be too difficult to accomplish, the fox said, and Naruto nodded, and the two got to work on Naruto's paperwork, which the Tokibetsu Jonin always appreciated. Together with Tsume, Hana, and Kiba. Tsume had already decided that if Naruto won the fight, Akira would be kicked out of the clan. Kiba stroked Akamaru's head while the dog slept on his friend's lap, and Hana did the same with one of the Heimaru brothers. So, Kasan, this certainly sets the tone for a drama, doesn't it? Hana inquired, and Tsume let out a tired groan. She wanted to laugh at that comment, but she couldn't at the moment. She was simply too tired, but that didn't stop her from responding. I was never one for much romance after your father left, but since Naruto-kun arrived, I can see your point, Hana. Even if this whole situation irritates me, Tsume grumbled. It's all Akira's fault. I only recognize Naruto as your mate, Kasan, and no one else. Tsume blushed as Kiba responded, and Hana nodded in agreement with Kiba's assessment. You two have grown quite fond of Naruto-kun. If I recall correctly, Hana, you said that if a guy tried to get with me, you'd maul them, while Kiba ripped the guy's eyes out before I could do anything, Tsume said, remembering her children's words, and Hana and Kiba gave an embarrassed chuckle, averting their gaze from Tsume's gaze. Haha, I have no idea what you're talking about, Kasan, Hana replied, and Kiba just remained silent for the rest of the conversation, making Tsume laugh. It was strange, she didn't feel like laughing, and yet her kids managed to get one out of her. Okay, you two, I'm going to bed. Do you have to prepare for your date, Hana? Tsume inquired, making Hana blush, and Kiba laughed at Hana's expense, earning him a pillow to the face. I'm going to bed as well. See you later, little bro. Hana exited the room, leaving only Kiba. I guess I'll go to bed as well. Tenten-chan stated that she would like to practice tomorrow, so I guess I'll get started walking up the stairs with a sleeping Akamaru in his arms, Kiba said. 3 hours later, with Naruto. Naruto-sama, come on. Only 120 more papers to go, and you'll be finished, the fox said, and Naruto's eyebrow twitched at the fox's easygoing nature when it came to paperwork. The blonde's hand was already cramping up, and he almost stopped signing the papers entirely. He had already eaten the dinner that Haku had made for him, and the girls were all currently in their separate rooms doing who knows what. But the blonde couldn't dwell on that right now. Only another 120 papers. I've already signed 100 of these things, and you have the audacity to say only 120 more. Naruto mentally screamed, and the blonde heard Kyuubi laughing in the background of his mind. And Naruto finally broke down and crossed his fingers between the laughing and the signing of papers. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Naruto yelled, and 5 clones appeared. Naruto then ordered the clones to assist him with his paperwork, and they were soon all working with Naruto and signing the papers. It took about another hour, but they all got it done, and the large stack of papers was placed on top of the table. Finally completed. My hands are torturing me, Naruto said, and the fox smiled. Yes, Naruto-sama, it is quite taxing for those who aren't used to paperwork. But you got it all done, the fox said as Naruto rubbed his ears, causing the fox to groan before laying on Naruto's lap. So, what exactly is your name? Naruto asked the fox, who growled lowly before responding. And Naruto realized he had discovered a weakness in all of his summons. They all liked having their summoner scratch their ears. Furin Naruto-sama is my name. I'm one of the foxes whose job it is to oversee the financial aspects of Mount Makai, which you humans refer to as the Fox Realm, Furin said. And Naruto nodded. Naruto felt Kasumi snuggle up inside his jacket, tickling the blonde. So, Furin, I'm going to put Kasumi to bed. If I need anything else, I'll call you and the others, Naruto told him, and the fox nodded and jumped to the ground, leaving with a quick bow. Naruto sighed and unzipped his jacket, pulling Kasumi out and holding her in his arms, hoping not to wake her up. As the blonde walked up the stairs, he began to turn off the lights in the downstairs living room. When Naruto arrived upstairs, he noticed that most of the lights were turned off and the blonde walked into a vacant room. He knew Kasumi would want to sleep with him like always, but she was so peaceful at the moment that he didn't want to wake her up. So he placed Kasumi on the bed and made a Kage Bunshin to stay with her for the night. It made Naruto smile when Kasumi curled into the clone's clothes and, "Sleep well, Kasumi-chan," Naruto said as he exited the room and went into the master bedroom, where the blonde sighed and fell to the bed, his hands throbbing. Hands hurt a lot. I don't want to move them, Naruto said, and Kyuubi chuckled. She had been gently massaging Naruto's aching muscles, but she had a better plan for him. Let me out, Naruto-kun. I know how I can assist you, Kyuubi said, raising an eyebrow at what she could want. Naruto made a Kai Bunshin and, as before, let his vixen roam free. Kyuubi stretched slightly and sat on the bed with Naruto. Give me your hands, Naruto-kun, Kyuubi said, and Naruto obliged. Kyuubi traced his hands before gently pressing them, making the blonde wince, but then he sighed. It was a massage, a very wonderful hand massage. Kyuubi went over Naruto's pressure points in his hands and easily relaxed them with her silky fingers. Wow, Kyuubi-chan, you give a great massage, Naruto said as he cupped Kyuubi's cheeks. Kyuubi smiled at his compliment and continued her soft touches over Naruto's hands, and the blonde felt all the pain go away from the wonderful massage. Kyuubi then stopped, and Naruto slightly pouted, but then his blue, ocean eyes stared into Kyuubi's red, fire eyes, and both were speechless for. Thank you very much, Kyuubi-chan. I'm not sure where I'd be without you, Naruto told her, and Kyuubi blushed as she gently placed one of her hands over Naruto's right hand. Naruto-kun, I adore you. Why shouldn't I do it for the man I care about? Kyuubi inquired, and Naruto nodded. He knew she meant every word she said because she was the one who had been with him the longest. He even dared to say that he trusted Kyuubi the most out of anyone he had ever met. On that note, Naruto instantly startled Kyuubi when he kissed her. Kyuubi widened her eyes at the instant and affectionate contact, then closed her eyes and simply enjoyed the taste of Naruto. Naruto-kun, Kyuubi began to say, but Naruto stopped her and gave her his warmest smile. Don't be concerned, Kyuubi-chan. Allow me to make you happy for a change. You've gone above and beyond for me. It's now my turn, Naruto said, and Kyuubi's blush rose as she widened her eyes. But she simply nodded, because she could never say no to Naruto when he said something so sweet to her. Naruto brought Kyuubi's lips back to his own and savored their taste in his mouth. It was such a vibrant feeling as the blonde deepened his connection with his vixen. Kyuubi gave a small moan from the feeling of Naruto's lips and his hot breath around her own lips. Her hands traced the form of his waist and steadily rose to where she brought her hands around his soft blonde hair. Alright Kyuubi-chan, time to make you feel good, Naruto said in thought as his tongue slowly forced its way into Kyuubi's mouth. Kyuubi was generally surprised by Naruto's initiative with her, and it made her blush that she, the queen of the demons, would be so vulnerable looking right now. Kyuubi then opened her mouth and allowed Naruto access to her insides where his tongue met hers, and the two danced for a while. Naruto-kun, I love you, Kyuubi said, and Naruto smiled. The blonde grabbed Kyuubi into a fierce hug, and Kyuubi wrapped her own arms around Naruto. They stayed like that for a while, and Kyuubi suddenly grinned, breaking the hug with Naruto and guiding Naruto's hand to her left breast, making Naruto blush. Go ahead, Naruto-kun. I want to be with my lovely blonde. Naruto kneaded Kyuubi's breasts in his hands in a circular motion as he enjoyed the supple weight of them. Kyuubi moaned slightly and Naruto continued his ministrations. Naruto rubbed his hands over Kyuubi's kimono-covered breast and softly rubbed it again, getting an even better moan from her lips. Kyuubi-chan, your breasts are amazing, Naruto said, causing Kyuubi to blush and become even more stimulated. Kyuubi breathed heavily and her hands continued to hold onto Naruto's body for balance while the blonde continued to play with her soft mounds. Kyuubi felt the soft clothing leave her body and nearly gasped when Naruto's hands made their way to her exposed D-cup breasts. Naruto played with them even more than before with his hands while his tongue took full advantage of Kyuubi's stunned surprise. When the two parted from their quick kiss, Naruto immediately kissed her neck, making Kyuubi nearly moan out. Oh Naruto-kun, give me more pleasure, Kyuubi pleaded, and Naruto didn't back down. The blonde shifted his weight and slowly pushed Kyuubi to the bed, making him be on top of her, and Naruto moved one of his hands downwards to Kyuubi's thighs. He went underneath the bottom half of her kimono and laced her thighs with the warm movements of his hands while his mouth was busy on. Naruto-kun, yes, have fun with my breasts. More Naruto-kun, please. Naruto increased his motions as he licked, sucked, and teased Kyuubi's breasts until the vixen was nearly sweating from the heat between them. It was then that Naruto took Kyuubi's breasts from his mouth and traced his lips downwards while planting small kisses along the way for Kyuubi to simply enjoy. Naruto came down to her soaking wet spot and he marveled at how pink it looked. Naruto-kun, yes, make use of your incredible tongue. Please come. Naruto removed his mouth from Kyuubi's wet slit and gave her clit a small bite as she let go of her high. I'm coming, Naruto-kun, Kyuubi yelled, sending the liquids into Naruto's mouth. Naruto drank the entire thing while watching Kyuubi slump to the floor. The blonde Jinchuriki smirked and leaned up, licking the traces of it found on Kyuubi's thighs. Did you like Kyuubi-hime? Naruto inquired, and Kyuubi huffed and nodded. When Kyuubi felt Naruto's raging member, he smiled. Now it's my turn, Naruto-kun, Kyuubi said, making Naruto gulp. Kyuubi gently kissed Naruto's neck, her mouth tracing his chest in great detail. She unzipped the blonde's black jacket and placed it on the floor next to her black kimono. She then moved on to his black, sleeveless shirt, which revealed his defined arm muscles from his youth training. Following the shirt was the mesh shirt the blonde was wearing, exposing his entire chest to Kyuubi. When she saw Naruto's toned chest muscles, the redhead vixen licked her lips and traced a finger between the blonde's ripped stomach. Kyuubi-chan, your hands are so soft, Naruto exclaimed, causing Kyuubi to laugh. Kyuubi grabbed Naruto's shaft with her other hand and began pumping it up and down, causing Naruto to grit his teeth from the sensations of Kyuubi's hands on his rock-hard member. Is this a good massage, Naruto-kun? Kyuubi inquired, and Naruto could only nod. While she was brushing him away, Kyuubi was kissing all over Naruto's body, and before the blonde knew it, he was in his boxers, his pants on the floor next to the bed. Kyuubi grinned as the tent in his pants appeared to be about to rip. Naruto's cock was in full bloom after she quickly disposed of the boxers. Kyuubi blushed, but quickly regained her composure and licked her lips. She pumped him harder and kissed Naruto's cock at the top, sending Naruto over the edge with pleasure. After a few more kisses, Kyuubi began to lick Naruto's dick even more, keeping the large meat steady with her right hand while the other played with his balls. Kyuubi-chan, I think I'm going to. Naruto didn't finish, and Kyuubi moved her mouth over Naruto's cock and slowly took his entire length in her mouth. Naruto gritted his teeth as he felt Kyuubi's slippery, wet throat, and soon realized he was feeling the back of Kyuubi's throat. Naruto's eyes sparkled as he rocked his hips slowly, while Kyuubi held his thick meat in her mouth. It almost made Kyuubi gag, and she was certain Naruto wanted to see that, so she popped it out of her mouth for a second. Naru-kun, you naughty boy, Kyuubi said before swallowing Naruto's cock again. This time at a faster pace, making Naruto brace himself multiple times for a sudden deep throat. which Kyuubi had tried multiple times. She could literally feel the drops of cumin flowing into her mouth, and the scent of Naruto inside her mouth only accelerated her sucking. "Okay, Kyuubi-chan, I've reached my limit. I'm going to come," Naruto yelled, sending his sperm into Kyuubi's mouth. The vixen's eyes widened at the sudden intake of white fluids, but she gulped it all down without letting a single drop escape her lips. Kyuubi kept her mouth over Naruto's cock a little longer before letting go. "Naru-kun, that was fantastic. Your sperm has a delicious saltiness to it. Now, are you ready to continue, my blonde mate?" Kyuubi asked, and Naruto smirked and nodded, feeling his member preparing for the final round. Naruto followed Kyuubi as she crawled backwards to the top of the bed. When Kyuubi was ready, Naruto kissed her on the lips in a quick but passionate kiss that Kyuubi adored. When they parted ways, Kyuubi gazed into Naruto's deep blue eyes. "Do you love me, Naruto-kun?" Kyuubi inquired. Naruto gave Kyuubi a blank stare for a moment before flashing her his best smile and rubbing the back of her head, drawing her closer to his body. "I love you, Kyuubi-chan. I don't know where I'd be without you. Everything you've ever given me, I want to give back to you. When I kiss you and hold you, I feel a deeper connection to you than anything else I can think of," Naruto said. Kyuubi laughed at Naruto's words, and the blonde was about to ask what was so funny until he noticed tears welling up in Kyuubi's eyes while she was laughing. "Kyuubi-chan," Naruto inquired, and was immediately greeted with a hug. Kyuubi wrapped her arms tightly around Naruto, as if he were a dream that she would never see again if she let go. Naruto encircled Kyuubi as well, and she leaned in to whisper in his ear in a soft, melodious voice. "Naruto-kun, take me. Right here, right now. Let me feel you inside me. Make me think of nothing but you. Naruto-kun, make me completely yours," Kyuubi said, and Naruto didn't need to be reminded twice. Before Naruto grabbed her hips and pushed his cock into Kyuubi's sweet spot, the blonde rubbed his cock across the folds of Kyuubi's pussy lips, stimulating the woman even more. Kyuubi's eyes widened as she felt herself being filled by Naruto's dick and the blonde plunging deep inside her. Kyuubi and Naruto both came to a halt for a few moments as they realized what had happened. Naruto's and Kyuubi's breaths both twitched. After a few minutes, Naruto started rocking his hips back and forth, providing Kyuubi with the stimulation she craved from the blonde. Kyuubi shifted her hips to match Naruto's small thrusts, but the blonde had already begun to move faster as he moved his shaft through Kyuubi's tunnels. Kyuubi moaned aloud from the sensation of having Naruto inside her, which was extremely beneficial to her. "Oh, Naruto-kun, right there. Your cock feels good," Kyuubi exclaimed, and Naruto smiled. He quickened his pace and began fucking Kyuubi much faster than the previous time, causing Kyuubi to brace herself on the bed while her eyes rolled back from the pleasure. "Yes, Naruto-kun. Faster, harder, fuck me," Kyuubi yelled, and Naruto delivered. The blonde grabbed Kyuubi and leaned up, putting him on his lap and her on his lap. Naruto wrapped his arms around Kyuubi's waist and pumped his long meat through her folds, causing Kyuubi to widen her eyes and moan like there was no tomorrow. "Kyuubi-chan, you're so tight, it's incredible," Naruto said. As Naruto pounded her in and out, Kyuubi moaned even more. Naruto felt like he hit something inside Kyuubi a few times, but each time she screamed even louder, making the blonde do it even more. Hitting he's my womb. He's so big, Kyuubi thought as she felt Naruto's dick tighten and her walls become increasingly wet. "Okay, Kyuubi-chan, I'm coming," yelled Naruto, and Kyuubi arched backwards as her high hit. "Naruto-kun, I'm coming," Kyuubi exclaimed, and the sperm rushed into Kyuubi's vaginal walls, dousing Naruto's cock with her juices. Naruto turned to Kyuubi with a smile as the two fell to the bed, beads of sweat streaming down their faces. "That was fantastic, Kyuubi-chan," Naruto said. Kyuubi nodded, and she noticed Naruto unconsciously looking at her breasts, his cock slowly standing to attention, making Kyuubi laugh. Naruto blushed with embarrassment, but Kyuubi simply smiled and traced a finger across his face. "You haven't had enough of me, Naru-kun." "Well, that's good because I haven't had nearly enough of you," Kyuubi said, making Naruto blush. The vixen then got down on all fours and waved her a $sign at Naruto, causing the blonde to lick his lips in anticipation. Naruto quickly regained his stamina and, while clutching Kyuubi's waist, slammed his cock back into her pussy, causing the woman to scream with delight. "Yes, Naruto-kun, fuck me harder. OKAMI, you're amazing," Kyuubi screamed, continuing to pound his vixen late into the night. "Kyuubi-chan, you're so hot. I can't believe I'm doing this with you right now," Naruto said, moving his hands from her hips to her breast as sweat stained the bed sheets. Kyuubi had never felt better in her entire life. Naruto was everything she could have wished for in a man. She adored the blonde Tokibetsu Jonin, and Naruto felt the same way. Both were still moving quickly until Naruto made one last thrust. "Kyuubi-chan, I'm coming," Naruto yelled, splashing his cum into Kyuubi's soaking wet pussy. Kyuubi arched her back and screamed her orgasm alongside Naruto. "Naruto-kun," Kyuubi exclaimed, and the two collapsed onto the bed, Naruto on top of Kyuubi. Both of them were sweating and panting profusely on the bed, and after a few minutes, they finally caught their breath and lay down. "Kyuubi-chan, that was incredible," Naruto said, as Kyuubi wrapped her slender arms around Naruto's naked body. She kissed him on the lips and leaned back with a smile, but that smile frightened Naruto slightly before Kyuubi began to kiss him more passionately. "The night is still young, Naruto-kun, and you're not getting away from me," Kyuubi said, and Naruto chuckled nervously. He could only hope that Anko and Kurenai wouldn't be upset if he looked tired the next day. The sounds of pleasure moans filled the room at that point, and luckily Naruto had placed a privacy seal, allowing them to be as loud or, in Kyuubi's case, even louder. The following morning, Anko and Kurenai had already arrived at one of the training grounds where Naruto had promised to meet them, and all they had to do now was wait for the blonde to arrive and begin their training. Anko wasn't a morning person most of the time, so she was irritable, but Kurenai had given her some tea as a pick-me-up, so Anko was fine. It was 9 o'clock in the morning, and Naruto was still nowhere to be found. "Where is he?" Anko wondered, and Kurenai simply leaned against one of the gates, thinking the same thing. They both knew Naruto was one of Kakashi's students and hoped he didn't have his sensei's habit of being late. "Maybe he's running a little late, Anko. You know how busy clan heads are, and with Naruto-sen being a recent one, I'd say he's got a lot of catching up to do," Kurenai said, and Anko had to reluctantly agree, even though she hadn't given it much thought. "I suppose you're right, but it's impolite to keep us waiting like this," Anko said, and the three jonin agreed to wait a little longer for the blonde to arrive at their training location. Naruto arrived after about 10 to 20 minutes to find Kurenai and Anko waiting for him. The blonde yawned and approached them. It took hours to completely satisfy Kyuubi, and boy did she need it. Naruto guessed that 13 years in a cage would do that to some people. The blonde had gotten very little sleep and was exhausted. He knew Haku and the others were still sleeping, leaving him alone. Even Kyuubi was sleeping when he left, her face glowing, and Naruto simply sighed. It was difficult to be the man and keep promises, but he'd be damned if he broke them. So, while they were all sleeping, Naruto made himself some tea, and he was basically fine after that, even though he was still tired. "Hey Kurenai-chan, Anko-chan, sorry for being late," Naruto smiled. Anko and Kurenai were overjoyed that the blonde had finally made it, and the three of them entered the training grounds. It was a typical open space like the others, but it had a large pool and larger trees around it. When the three jonin gathered in the center of the training field, the two jonin immediately waited for Naruto's instruction, which was strange because they needed help from someone younger than them. But they weren't about to complain. It's not every day that you're willingly taught how to counter or fight a complete Sharingan. Naruto rubbed his eyes for a moment before pulling out a notepad he had been carrying with him. Kurenai and Anko raised an eyebrow at him but said nothing as Naruto prepared to speak. "All right ladies, let's get started," Naruto said, startling the two jonin. Kurenai narrowed her eyes as Anko expressed her desire to grind Naruto's skull into the ground. The blonde continued, knowing deep down that Naruto was telling the truth. "Don't get me wrong, I know you're both strong. After all, you wouldn't be jonin if you weren't. But anyway, I had a reason for that bet and I was able to take a few notes on both of your abilities," Naruto explained. Kurenai and Anko's eyes widened at Naruto's claim, eager to hear what he thought. Naruto flipped through the notepad, starting with Kurenai. "Kurenai-chan, during the fight, you mostly kept your distance from my clones. You also knew you were in trouble when none of your Jinjutsu worked on my Sharingan clones or my Byakugan clones. Kurenai-chan, you rely too much on Jinjutsu. I know you're the Jinjutsu mistress of Konoha, but you need to diversify more." Right now the area she was slightly depressed to learn that her favorite art was holding her back, but she decided to accept it and move on. "All right, Naruto-san, I'm in your hands now," Kurenai said quietly. While flipping through his notepad, Naruto nodded and turned to Anko. "Anko-chan, you were really direct when it came to fighting my clones. You don't have a lot of strength in your technique, so you used agility to make up for that. Your ninjutsu was good and well balanced, but you were putting too much chakra into it, so you got tired rather quickly. You should lay off the dango for a bit," Naruto said, making Anko's eyebrow twitch and Kurenai-san. "It was just a suggestion. Databao," Naruto said, anime tears streaming down his cheeks. Kurenai gently consoled Naruto as Anko huffed. After that, the three resumed their conversation, and Naruto coughed. Overall, you two need to work on your endurance and taijutsu. That's one of the keys to fighting a Sharingan user. I'm sure Guy has a lot of experience fighting the Sharingan because he deals with Kakashi a lot. Also, I'm going to teach you to rely on more than just sight, Naruto said. Anko and Kurenai were perplexed by that one. They knew how to raise their senses to good levels, and while they weren't as good as others, they were still pretty good. What do you mean by fight with our other senses? We already use chakra to enhance our senses to above human levels, so why are you training us in that? Anko inquired, and Naruto was relieved she did. According to Kyuubi, Naruto had a long history of understanding the Sharingan and its drawbacks. She still hadn't told him what the third Sharingan ability was, aside from Amaterasu and Tsukuyomi, but he figured he'd just wait and not rush the process. But he was regressing. What I mean is that I'm going to have you fight with your eyes closed. When we spar, you will always have your eyes closed and rely on your other senses. The Sharingan is truly lethal when it comes into contact with your eyes, so I'm going to instill the fact that you don't need your eyes to beat your opponents. Naruto asked. Kurenai and Anko both nodded. Naruto nodded and took out a scroll, unsealing 2 light leg weights from it. Alright, Kurenai-chan, I want you to do some standard stretches, then run around the training grounds pond for a half hour. Then work on about 5 sets of push-ups and sit-ups, and we'll get into the heavy stuff later, Naruto said, and Kurenai's sweat dropped. Isn't that the heavy stuff? She wondered. But Naruto had already turned to Anko and relayed his instructions to her as well. Okay, Anko-chan, you'll be doing the same thing as Kurenai-chan. But you'll be wearing some stronger leg weights because your taijutsu is naturally better than Kurenai-chan's. I set up this schedule for the both of you to do for the day, and I'll adjust it accordingly, Naruto said. Kurenai followed her training regimen, as did Anko. Kurenai's training for the day consisted of 30 minutes of running around the lake to build stamina, 100 push-ups and sit-ups for 5 sets, a 30-minute break, and a spar against 2 Naruto clones. Kurenai almost fainted when she saw the list. When Naruto said he would train them, he meant it. Naruto admired Kurenai's surprised expression as she read the list, but he knew it would be beneficial to her in the future. He wondered if Kakashi felt the same way when he trained them. Anko took her list and looked it over as well. Anko had an hour of running, 150 push-ups and sit-ups for 3 sets, a 30-minute break, and a spar with 2 Naruto clones. Anko wondered why her list was longer than Kurenai's, and Naruto explained that Anko was slightly stronger in the field of strength than Kurenai. In terms of taijutsu, the two were nearly equal, with Kurenai only slightly higher because she'd been a jonin longer than Anko. After a brief review of the lists, both girls nodded and walked off to begin their training. They decided to start running at the same time, and the 2 jonin ran away, leaving Naruto to begin his own exercises. The blonde had an idea for a better way to use Gaara's sand, and it wasn't something he had tried out before. He wasn't sure how he was going to pull it off, but he knew better than to give up without a fight. The blonde performed a Kaibunshin and began sparring with the blood clone. He always wanted to spend at least a quarter of his day training or moving his body. Naruto took on the Shinsei Nagan after his blood clone activated its Sharingan. He decided to practice some Hyuga stances and work on his still problematic sand control. While they were running, Anko and Kurenai noticed Naruto training and observed his form for a few moments. They noticed the blonde Tokibetsu Jonin's face glisten in the sun as he trained, and it caused the two to flush slightly. The Gaki sure is built, eh, Nai-chan? Anko inquired, but Kurenai remained silent and continued running ahead. Anko laughed and dashed after Kurenai to find out the answer to her question. When Anko and Kurenai finished their run, the sun was high in the sky and they were both sweating profusely. They noticed Naruto sparring with his clone. They were aware of the clone's Hyuga stances. Kurenai had recognized the sand Naruto was using since Gaara Kid used it in the Chunin exam prelims. The two exchanged a few words with the blonde before beginning their push-ups and sit-ups. The Hokage Mansion. Lady Tsunade, please accept me as your student, Sakura requested of the 5th Hokage. While doing some paperwork, Tsunade raised an eyebrow. Haku was also present in the room because the two had arrived at Tsunade at the same time in search of training. And why should I? You both have teachers, so use them, Tsunade said, as Shizune sighed. Her master was always this way with everyone, but she reasoned that it was for their own good. Well, Kurenai-sensei is busy with her own training, so I didn't want to interrupt her, and besides that Shino and Hinata are so far ahead of me. I mean, he's just a creepy bug boy and she does nothing but stutter, so how are they stronger than me? At this rate, I won't be able to get Sasuke attention, Kun's Sakura explained, making Haku. T.S. there were girls like this everywhere, which irritated Tsunade. People used to train seriously back in her day, and a genin could even do B rank missions, but they had become so lax in times of peace. Tsunade then looked at Haku, puzzled by her response. I want to train for myself in Naruto-kun. I want to get stronger, all for the sake of restoring Naruto clan. Kuns, I see it as a duty, but it's also something I want to do. Naruto-kun is precious to me, and I'll do anything to help him achieve his dream and mine, Haku said, and Tsunade had to look up from her work and stare at Haku's resolve. Shizune widened her eyes as Sakura raised an eyebrow. It was unusual for Tsunade and Shizune to see a woman willing to go to such lengths to make someone else happy, but someone else was different. Why do you want to get stronger for Naruto Baka? He's nothing like Sasuke-kun. Didn't you know Sasuke-kun officially became the head of the Uchiha clan, the greatest clan in all of Konoha? Sakura asked, rolling her eyes and massaging her temples. This happened after she had only been Hokage for about a day. She could put up with Haku, but Sakura was a different story. I'm glad Sasuke-san is the head of his clan, even if he is the only member, because Naruto-kun is the head of our clan as well, and I'm its first member, Haku said with a bow. Tsunade smirked and lightly placed her hands on the table. Alright then, Haku, you have demonstrated your determination with your words, and tomorrow you will demonstrate it with your actions. I will accept you as my student, Tsunade declared, and Haku immediately bowed her head in respect to her master and teacher. Tsunade then turned to look at Sakura. Sakura, you still haven't shown me the determination in your words, so I can't train you until I see that, Tsunade said as he walked away. She mentally cursed the fact that Sarutobi got to start his retirement today, so this just sucked, but she figured it couldn't be all bad. Shizune left after Tsunade and congratulated Haku, but Sakura expressed her displeasure as the two walked out. Why did she choose you instead of me? Sakura inquired, and Haku rolled her eyes at the pink-haired banshee. It's because you don't know what your purpose is for becoming strong, Haku said as he walked away from the Hokage mansion, while Sakura stomped off in the distance. Naruto, Anko, and Kurenai are back. Anko and Kurenai were enjoying the last of their break, while Naruto sipped water from a bottle he had brought with him. The Jonin were both nearly exhausted from the warm-up, but they didn't give up. They should have been used to it by now, but the feeling of carrying extra weights made things difficult. Alright ladies, that's it, time to start sparring, Naruto said. Kurenai and Anko stood in the middle of the field, nodding and wiping away sweat. Their warm-up alone had taken approximately 2 hours. Kurenai was the first of the three to walk to the center of the fields. Naruto handed a blindfold to Kurenai and waited for her to put it on. Kurenai sighed after looking at it for a while. Here we go, Kurenai said, putting on the blindfold. When it was snug enough, Naruto nodded and inspected it. Alright, Kurenai-chan, we'll get started, but remember we're here to improve your taijutsu, endurance, and strength, so no genjutsu until I say so, Naruto said, and Kurenai nearly gasped. Anko's eyes widened when she heard that condition. Naruto basically took away everything Kurenai stood for, and Anko picked up on it. Naruto could be a sadist if he wanted to or when he wanted to. And no genjutsu. I only know a few ninjutsu and we're working on my taijutsu. This can't be good, Kurenai reasoned as Naruto created 2 shadow clones. Naruto didn't or wasn't going to use weapons because it was taijutsu. Naruto took a step back as each clone wielded the Sharingan. Alright, Kurenai-chan, 1 hour. Use nothing but taijutsu to last as long as you can, Naruto said. Kurenai nodded and assumed her familiar taijutsu stance. She'd never done blindfolded training before, so this was an entirely new experience for her. Naruto set a timer and pressed it on the grass. Kurenai was already on the verge of panic when the bell rang. She had no idea what either of the clones were up to, but that was the point. Alright, let's see if I can do this, Kurenai reasoned as she directed chakra to her ears. She was still tense as she heard the Naruto clone's silent steps. When one got too close, Kurenai turned her head and charged in the direction of the noise, ready to punch. But the Naruto clone ducked underneath it and countered with a kick to Kurenai's side. Kurenai sighed as she gripped the side of her waist. This was not going to be simple. The Naruto clones charged at Kurenai, and she could hear them coming thanks to their footsteps. One clone kicked Kurenai in the face, but the Genjutsu mistress narrowly avoided the hit, and kicked again, and to her surprise, she made contact, sending the clone into a tree, but it didn't dispel. Naruto had figured out how to make his clones last longer, and it was paying off. Kurenai was put to the test over the course of an hour, as she had numerous bruises and scrapes from her fight with the clones. She was also a little tired from the other warm-up exercises. She didn't have to worry about moving too much when she was fighting at a distance, so this was all new to her. Kurenai knelt on the ground and panted, beads of sweat forming on her brow. She could sense that the clones were still present and ready to go. I give, Naruto-san, Kurenai said, and Naruto stopped the timer. Kurenai rose to her feet and reached for the blindfold, which she undid. Naruto took the blindfold in his hand as he noticed Kurenai's intense stare. Kurenai inquired, "Who fights like this?" Naruto turned around with a smile on his face. "Kai-san, Kakashi-sensei, Rock Lee, Neji Hyuga, and even Tenten, I've dabbled in it, so I have a slight advantage," Naruto explained. Kurenai checked the time and saw that it wasn't even an hour yet. She hadn't been going for more than 40 minutes. Well, that was good for a first try, Kurenai-chan. "Don't worry, it will come naturally to you and Anko-chan once I'm done with you," Naruto said, and Kurenai nodded and smiled. "So Gaki-kun, it's my turn, right?" Anko inquired as he donned the blindfold. Naruto chuckled and nodded at her eagerness to get started, but he still had to set the conditions, which he knew she wouldn't like. "That's right, Anko-chan. You won't be using any ninjutsu. I know your genjutsu is good, though not as good as Kurenai-chan's, but still alright, so limit that if you can help it." Naruto made 2 more clones. Kurenai leaned up against one of the trees to watch Anko fight, and the purple-haired Jonin licked her lips as she smirked. "This is what I call training. I'll show the Gaki not to mess with me," Anko mused as Naruto reset the timer. 1 hour, Anko-chan. "Go," yelled Naruto.
So this was it for today. I will continue the story next part. Till then, we weave offline.